flag and we planted it hard. Said Captain Jackson and dealt the cards. The doubters were nervous, saying, are we sure? Then Luke walked in through the opening door. Hair blowing around like a shampoo at Dream. Flowing majestic under stadium beams. With that seedy mustache from a dodgy porn scene. His toothless grin outshines even Johnny Sins. Captain Jackson, airborne attacking 176, and the points were stacking. Leaped so high, he was breaking the sky. Geelong defenders just asking why. Flowing locks and a creepy mustache. To the weirdest superhero the game's ever knew. SuperCoach edge caught every shot, and Captain Jackson delivered the lot. Delivered the lot. Poor Mitch Edwards looked up in despair as Jackson kept appearing from somewhere in the air, like he'd secretly fitted trampoline shoes or discovered cheat codes the rest couldn't use. Hit out after hit out around the ground too, doing whatever he wanted to do. Owners checking scores every couple of minutes, thinking surely there's a mistake hidden in it. But the points kept coming, the app caught fire, and Jackson was operating on God-tier power. Captain Jackson, absolute chaos, 176, and he left us speechless, flying around with his toothless grin like a footy wizard, committing scoring sins from giant leaps to points galore. We wanted 100 and he brought us more. We planted the flag and we planted it hard. Said Captain Jackson and dealt the cards. The doubters were nervous, saying, are we sure? Then Luke walked in through the opening door. Hair blowing around like a shampoo at Dream. Flowing majestic under stadium beams. With that seedy mustache from a dodgy porn scene. His toothless grin.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to SuperCoach Edge and another edition of SuperCoach Edge Friday night knockoffs. Always a pleasure to have your company, and interesting game tonight. Was interesting. Bit of a nothing sort of game, must be said. A number of injuries, that's for sure. There was quite a few lower leg injuries, which was most notably, underlined by the youngster in... How do you pronounce his name? The Grzycki, really, really talented key position forward. Went down with what looks to be an ACL. Much sought after signature as well from opposition teams that were keen on him. And it looks as though he might be out for 12 months or more. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait and see there. But Brent Daniels, another player as well, which was a bit of a pod type pick who we kind of discussed over the past maybe 3-4 weeks ago, when he started getting a bit of a run on, and maybe even a couple of weeks ago when he started to get some time in the midfield. And I remember that in our Discord, there were people asking, should we be considering him? And I think we just in one of our episodes, SuperCoach Edge weekly episodes, of course, and had a chat about the fact that he looked good, had a nice role in the midfield, but terrible health durability, just staying on the park. And we saw tonight, again, went down, and that looks to be a calf injury of sorts. So soft tissue injuries do tend to chase around Brent Daniels, and he looks like he could be out for an extended period for those people that took the punt. But I think I said at the time, he's an attractive option, provided you are willing to part with a trade if/when he inevitably gets injured. So seems to be that way, unfortunately, for him. But for those people who took the punt, hey, it's one of those seasons, I think, that you can probably afford to take it, but it's also one of those seasons that we've seen a lot of players go down with injuries, and I'm really avoiding any players with bad durability history. So it really does suck to see that, nonetheless, though. And then we had, I think, Clary went off with a bit of a graze on his leg, sat a fair chunk of time on the bench. Then we had Lockie Ash going down, rolled his ankle, and he spent a fair bit of time on the bench as well. Nick Watson, of course, he rolled an ankle, then did his hamstring, I think it was. So it was a casualty ward for this game. If you were able to dodge it, geez, you would be coming out the other side with a bit of a smile on your face. But for me, wasn't really an eventful night, must be said. I really only own Whitfield, who scored a 119, top scored for the Giants, which was great to see. Outside of that, just a game to tune in and watch a bit of footy. But nonetheless, we are here to chat about that, plus everything more. Anything that tickles your fancy, of course. We aren't just here to chat about SuperCoach. As you've seen, if you are a rusted-on contributor and regular here around these parts for the Friday knockoffs, you'll have seen that we chat about SuperCoach for maybe the first half an hour, if that, and then we chat about everything else. So let us know if there is a topic of discussion. Feel free to pop it up. And of course, we always do the polls and everything else as well. So if you have a bit of a contentious topic that you would like to see people get involved in with regards to a poll, we might even try that as well. Maybe play some games, we might do some trivia, see where the night leads us. So let's start by looking at the comments. And Corey, of course, here, Brent Daniels gone for me. Now another injury trade. I don't know if it was you that maybe asked the question that week about Brent Daniels, but yeah, as I said, he's one of those guys that really could have paid off had he not been injured, and was in good form, looking good. But such is the 2026 season. I'm holding onto my trades, ladies and gents, like none other. I've got like a vice-like grip on them. I'm very, very scared. Got the heebie-jeebies. I've been hit hard by long-term injuries, and I don't want to be hit hard anymore. G'day, Shano. Finn's score was way unders, and they missed a 50-meter penalty and direct goal assist 2 in the third. The scoring is very frustrating this year. I 100% echo those thoughts with regards to Finn's score. Let me just pop it up on screen here so we can check it out. So he ended up having 103. Now, I even saw here this is on Fan Footy, of course, but someone made a comment early on, I think it was maybe partway through the first quarter, where Callaghan, they weren't direct turnovers, but they were ineffective kicks, yet it looked as though champion data or criminal data, champion data, whatever you want to call them, they were actually classifying these ineffective kicks as direct turnovers or clangers in this case. And wasn't the case. As you can see, they've classified him as having 9 clangers, which isn't correct. They were not direct turnovers, but I was watching it and consulted Fan Footy, ticked across here and saw they'd marked it down as a clanger. Very, very frustrating. It really does annoy me. And they probably won't do it because they will virtually see a lot of their jobs being made redundant. But what they do is purpose-built for AI to analyze and attribute stats to players throughout the match, in every single match. They can analyze this. You can do it post-game. You don't even need to do it live. But I mean, that would be absolutely amazing to do it live. And I think probably the software is there to do it. But to iron out the kinks, just do it. Do it over the preseason. Do it for the women's game, potentially, just to trial things out and then implement it in season, in game, so we're getting live scores. But there's just way too many instances here where I think there's human error creeping into it. It's such a subjective, even though it is, they try and classify each statistical category as being, black and white. you still need to sort of analyze and work out, okay, is that a contested possession? Depending on the situation, is that an uncontested possession? Like basic things like that, where human error and subjectiveness does come into it. You virtually feed what you classify as uncontested or contested scenarios across the past 10 years of vision of the AFL, feed that into an AI software, and it would analyze it and be able to roll it out. And I think do it much, much better than what we're seeing in terms of the human element side of things. It seems to be a dated way to do things. And it makes really no surprise to me that AFL fantasy, as much as I love SuperCoach, it's why AFL fantasy is as popular as it is, because it's black and white. You can't get it wrong. A kick is a kick, handball's a handball. And, we love the quirks of SuperCoach and the different layers that come with it with regards to the statistical side of things. And it's not just, rewarding the accumulators in the game. And it's more so rewarding those impactful players. But it does make you wonder, doesn't it? It really does. It's very frustrating. I don't know if it's worse this year than other years. It seems as though there are aspects. I've said it in the past, there are some players, and I think Finn Callaghan is definitely one of those. Sammy Walsh, he's another player that I find, and I obviously being a Carlton supporter, I see the way he plays. I watch the way he plays quite intently, but he's also in my team. So I watch him even closer. And I know his kicking can be wayward at times, but his impact on the game. And then I look at the quarter break, at the fan footy scores, and it's like perplexing. I don't know why he isn't being scored more. There are some players, and it's kind of the reverse Bond rule in a sense, where players aren't being scored as they probably should be in terms of the impact they're having on games. Yeah, it's very frustrating. G'day, Jack. How are you, mates? I'll take tonight's scores. Whitfield, Callaghan. Oh, sorry, Callaghan is the other one I have. Can't forget Finn. And I grabbed Will Day this week in the flex. Will Day finished with a bit of a flurry. 110, mate. You'd be very, very happy with him. And an incredible, I guess, return to senior footy. He is someone, again, durability-wise, isn't the greatest, but he's showing, again, that he's able to hit the ground running as soon as he gets back to senior footy. He's such a talented player. I still remember in his first year playing off half-back, and people were like, this guy's got the tank to play through the middle. And since he transitioned through there, geez, he's looked very, very good. That's for sure. So a great get by you, Jack, and I hope you're well, mate. Corey, my week is going bad this week. I think my start isn't too bad. On a punting front, that's a different story. I did not have a good night on the punt. Of course, gamble responsibly if you are that way inclined. But yeah, very, very frustrating. Looking at you, Josh Ward, he had a very, very off game where he's been averaging over 20 disposals every single game, bar one or two there, I think, against the Dogs. But yeah, very frustrating on that side of things. But I think SuperCoach, for me, knock on wood, thus far, not too bad. Not too bad. Callaghan is the only ton you've said. Okay, I get what you mean. You never like the poor start. Like the first two games, if you start poorly or slowly and you don't get many tons, it really does deflate you, doesn't it? Like there is nothing worse when it comes to SuperCoach. Conversely, the best part of it is what we saw last week. If you were someone that put the VC on Jackson in the first game, and he's ended up scoring the top score, and it's like, well, gee whiz, 170 odd. We take that every single day of the week, and it sets just your week or your weekend off so well. But it can go the other way very, very easily, can't it, Corey? Jack, Callaghan and Walsh seem like they have to do so much every week to get a fucking ton. Yep. Now, I hadn't read your message there, Jack, but I'm glad I am not the only one with regards to Walsh. Some people may say that because I'm a Carlton supporter, I'm biased, but I think I'm pretty unbiased by and large. Go and check out, of course, Blue Baggers Edge, my other channel here on YouTube, where I do kind of say it as it is, in terms of critique, as well as not just buttering up the team as some people may do. But for me, yeah, Walsh fits that category, and I don't know why. And again, it's a subjective side of the game when it comes to scoring for SuperCoach that I just don't understand. No matter how many times they can unveil the different layers of scoring, it means nothing to me until we see transparency with regards, or consistency. It's kind of like umpiring the AFL in general, isn't it? Like we see players being scored as they probably should be. We see players getting scored above and beyond what they should be, and those being scored well below what they should be. So it's that inconsistency with SuperCoach scoring that is the most frustrating part of it, isn't it? Jonas Callahan slaughtered the ball big time, really hurt his score. And he did. In terms of his disposal efficiency, yes, but there's no qualms about that. But in terms of his ineffective kicks being classified as clangers or direct turnovers, no. I'm not going to have that. No, he didn't really. 100% Callahan butchered the ball. He did. But again, as I was talking about, the classification of what they're saying is an ineffective kick and a clanger or direct turnover is, it's one of those things that is up for interpretation, really, when it comes to the subjective side of SuperCoach. Jack, I missed the game. I was at rugby league tonight, but didn't look super exciting yet. It was a bit of a nothing game. I think the Giants started to work their way back into the game late, but it really wasn't much of a contest. The Hawks controlled pretty much the entire game from go to woe. Hope Will Day does not get injured for his sake. I would be nervous owning him for 8 weeks. You definitely would. I think off the back of the long-term injuries that we've had cropping up, even guys like, Cherry, of course, with a glass jaw, getting the jaw fracture, and now getting surgery and potentially out for not just this week, but maybe next week. For those of us like myself who own Cherry, who's been a frustrating owner apart from the early rounds of the season. I don't know about you guys out there, but for me, there is perspective with regards to these long-term injuries because I have a very, very itchy trigger finger, and I want to get rid of Cherry post-haste. And him getting injured gives me that outlet to do it. But I'm brought back to reality by the fact that I've had, Sinclair, we've had, of course, Archie Roberts, we've had Flanders being pulled out. So that's 3 long-term injuries that we've had to deal with in a short space of time that for me, I'm still trying to upgrade my team. I think I'm like 2 spots away from fully upgrading my team. And I've already come to the realization or the conclusion that I'm not going to have a full 23 primo team, which I think is probably a smart way to do it with regards to the trades that most of us have at this stage, which is around about anywhere between, 7, or below, if you're at the stage of almost completing a team. But I think having 22 primos and maybe a bit of a player with a high deviation in their scoring where they can have a huge ceiling but really low floor, that's probably a player that you can use in your flex. And because end of the day, the 23rd scorer is going to fall out of your team anyway, in terms of the best 22 players out of the buys. So for me, if you were going to have the best 23 scorers or average players in SuperCoach, you're going to have that 23rd best averaging player fall out of your team. And they're going to be at a high price point. So kind of for me, you can justify it in a sense where you're like, I don't want to be forking out big dollary dues for a player in the best 23 where you're going to be paying for a player that the score may not count on a given week. So I don't mind going for a player with that high ceiling, low floor, big deviation, but on their week can really pop off and almost, catapult you off the ranks single-handedly via their score. So I don't mind that side of things. But yeah, as you say with Will Day, getting back to him, yeah, these sort of players, I think you just need to have a trade put aside just in case they go down with injury, because we can't be trusting players. I mean, players on the whole, but especially those with poor durability. We've seen Zorko as well, another player that went down that some people jumped on, I think the week before he went down with that calf. And we spoke about it on the podcast numerous times where he was nursing that calf through week after week after week in the 2025 season. And he's another year older. He's putting his body through the rigors, and it's almost a matter of time before it was going to go ping again. But he's due back soon. But is he going to return? And is he going to return in the same form? That's the question. Shano, I reckon I know what that weird sign means. Haha. If you ever heard of the comedy duo Hale and Pace, I'm tipping it means pace on the ball. That's actually a pretty good analysis of it, mate, because I was here it is here, trying to work it out now. Is that the photo of David Hale? He kind of looks a bit like Matthew Lloyd, must be said. But with the thumb, it's a bit of a comedy as well, because David Hale losing his hair, shaved it all off, went bald. So I just want to bring up actually just a photo of David Hale, make sure it is him. So this is David Hale. This is David Hale here. I can't do a split screen, but this is David Hale. If it works, add. Oh, here we go. I've got to do this. So I don't know if this is him. So look at that face, then look at this one. I don't know if it's him. Obviously not the exact same photo, but I wonder. Because now he's fully bald as well. So a bit of a gag. But yeah, that does make sense. Like Hale and pace on the ball. I don't know why they get so creative, teams. You can literally just put a sign with a P up there, and the players would know that P stands for pace. P could stand for any number of things, but I do like the creativity. It's quite funny. Bit of a gag, but yeah, don't know. Punter, nice start for my team, Rugrats. Well done, mates. 5 players used 686 if I take Henny's VC of 125. What are you doing with that, mate? Are you going to lock in that 125? Because I think outside of maybe Dacos, there isn't another player that I'd be 100% set on. Even Sheasel, I'd be worried about a little bit in case they set Setterfield onto him, pardon the pun, to try and quell his influence. So I think Dacos, Richmond don't have a tagger. Dacos for me is probably the only other player. So if I was in your shoes, I would be weighing it up. I would be. Depends as well if you're going for league head-to-head matchups, all that sort of stuff, and if your opponent has their VC on Dacos, the C on Dacos, and you're already ahead of the pack. If you're ahead of them, I would probably offset it by putting the captaincy on Dacos just to continue and keep that lead. Because if Dacos goes huge and you've locked in a 125, it allows them to get back and bridge that gap. But if you're going for overall, it's a question that you need to ask yourself. But I think you probably can take the punt, but everyone's different. Everyone is very different. Freaky Flute, how are you, mates? Another regular of ours, and of course, another, much like Punter himself and Jack Blucher, all these legends, as you can see there with the icon next to the name, they are members of the SuperCoach Edge YouTube channel, which we are eternally grateful for. So thank you so much for your support. Next level support, not just tuning in from week to week, watching or listening to our content, but also helping us, assisting us financially to offset, of course, all the overheads, as we'll call them, with regards to the subscription that we do need for our podcasting platform and so on and so forth. So thank you so much, ladies and gents. And if you are keen to join, which there are a number of perks, of course, if you join as a member, it's for the cost of $3.99, which is as I always say, the price of half a cup of coffee for an entire month. So if you enjoy our content, no obligation, but if you want to be a part of these absolute legends, I think we've got about 13 or 14 members of our channel at the moment, which is by far and away the most we've had across our 6-year tenure here at SuperCoach Edge. So thank you so much again to all of those legends that are members. Now, Freaky, is there a part of Daniel's body left that he hasn't copped a soft tissue injury to? Maybe his dick, mate. Maybe his dick, but it depends if that is soft or hard. Punter, I thought Sicily was underscored, in my opinion. 22 disposals, 16 kicks, 6 handballs, 96% efficiency, 10 marks, and 477 meters gained. So his score would have been, let me just bring it up on screen again. Get bloody David Hale off our screen. So he was 109. Interesting. I think you'd probably say that because he's had 23, and 8 of those contested. Yeah, that is a bit rough. That is a bit rough. So 22 disposals, 8 of those, 16. So, not quite half of the number of, but almost half, getting there. Yeah. That is pretty rough. I agree with you there, Punter. Jack, thought I heard Grzycki had dislocated kneecap. Oh, there you go. Gee whiz. I think they're just as bad, aren't they? Dislocated kneecaps. Because that damages the patella tendon, is it? I think that's the tendon. You might know more than me, Jack. But yeah, it sounds pretty nasty. Poor bloke. Callahan dropped 2 easy marks. He did indeed. Shano, that was a 125 game by Finn. Finn's low efficiency and freeze against cost him. Also kick to handball ratio. Fair point. One was Callahan got a free added, and it was someone else who got the free. Okay. Someone commented his last kick at the end of the game for a Hawthorn mark didn't move his score. Another commenter said it was adjusted for scaling. Yeah, well, it could have been like it. That's the other thing that shits me with SuperCoach is they scale on the fly. I think they should be scaling at the back end of the game. Like, because if you've put a massive amount of impact in the first quarter and your team is ahead at that stage, but they go on to lose the game by 60 points, I think they should be rated on the performance of the overall game, not just the impact at that moment in time. Just make it more black and white and give them scaling points if they impact towards the team winning. Just make it much easier, because the scaling on the fly doesn't quite work, in my opinion. And again, is open to interpretation, subjectiveness, and you get those issues with regards to human error. Grampians, rare event, had 5 players tonight, all tonned up. Wow. Finn, Witt, Sit Dog, Day, and Newcomb. Well done, mate. Well done indeed. Punter, Jack, g'day, mates. Your Lions looks... Yeah, they did indeed. The Lions looked absolutely amazing. They are back in a big way, big way. So good to see there, especially for you, Jack. You would have been a happy man watching that. So, geez, if only our teams were like the Lions. Freaky, I'm done with SuperCoach and it's scoring AFL fantasy next year for me, and I'm not suggesting any shenanigans like criminal data. It's just a shit scoring system. Yeah, I just think that there needs to be more black and white, as I said. I've been playing fantasy as well, but I don't like the aspect that there's an unlimited trades. I think it takes the strategy out of it. And before SuperCoach, I used to play AFL Dream Team when the number of trades were capped like in SuperCoach. In fact, I think it was even less. It might have been like 20 trades for the entire season or something. Wasn't that many. And, you had to ration things. There were weeks there where you couldn't make a trade, and it was fun. It was fun. If you had an injury, you had to, grin and bear it. Or if you traded out that player, then you forego, potentially a trade. As we see now with SuperCoach, probably less so. There was waiting with regards to trades and whether or not you use them. But AFL Fantasy now, it's a different game where you're kind of encouraged to trade and, get in the players that have a really low break even for like a week and then punt them. It's not like in SuperCoach where you're waiting for them to play 3 games, then they go up in price, and then you hold them for at least 3, 4, 5 weeks to get the most out of them. AFL Fantasy is different, and I don't find it as fun despite that. If SuperCoach had their scoring system down pat, I would be I would be endorsing people from AFL Fantasy to come across to SuperCoach. But I can really understand why it's more popular. There's longevity in it, unlimited trades. I understand that, but I think they can still get around that, make it fun with SuperCoach if they fix the scoring, because that's probably the most frustrating. I reckon if you did a study, if you did, a straw poll of the players of SuperCoach, coaches out there, what is the one thing that frustrates you? I could guarantee 9 times out of 10, it would be the scoring system, 100%. Freaky Flute, didn't Wilkie have 6 kicked on him a few weeks ago by his direct opponent, and he's still turned up? Yeah, no, really bad system. Yeah, and it doesn't factor in the defenders. Like, it is flawed in that mechanism there where, again, it kind of rewards those, those accumulators off halfback, which goes against SuperCoach and what it stands for compared to, AFL Fantasy, where that kind of rewards, the surface level raw data. It doesn't factor in the direct opponents, but I guess if they were going to do that with defenders, they'd need to do it with every other position, apart from forwards, of course. But it opens up a bit of a can of worms. But you would think that there would be criteria to really, assess defenders a bit better. But there's flaws in the system, and that probably extends to that as well. But I can kind of forgive that to an extent, because it, as I said, it opens up a can of worms, and there's only so many layers that you can account for. So I can understand that, but by the same token, if you want to, reward the impactful players, there should almost be a different set of scoring criteria for defenders, for midfielders, and forwards. And I know that convolutes things, but if you do that, but also just simplify it, you might be able to get away with it. Corey, I've had this week Wilmot, Blakey, Ash, Goulden, Neil, Harvey Thomas, Daniels, and Edwards for the Swans. Mate, you have got a number of pod players there. Must be said. Wilmot's a pod, Blakey's a pod, Ash probably less so. Goulden's a pod coming back from injury. Neil, I'd wager, is probably a pod. Harvey Thomas, yes. Daniels and Edwards. Gee whiz, mate. Love the pods. But the 50-metre penalty for Callaghan was harsh when he didn't cross the line properly. Kingsley is a new bevo with the movement of magnets. Yeah, and how about Clary being thrown forward in the third quarter? That would have stuffed up, and I'm thankful that I don't own Clary because that put a cap on his scoring output. Of course, he went off for a little bit, but it put a cap on his game. Frustrating. Punter, I've just done the one trade this week. Sinclair to Horn Francis, the Horn bag. Leaves me with the 5 trades, 83.4K in the bank. Looking at Hewitt. So I think my cat wants to go out. 1 second. Good old Paddy. I've done the one trade this week. Sinclair, Horn Francis. Looking at Hewitt next week, or I can pull the trigger coming to Hewitt this week. I actually I know you asked this question. I think it was you, Punter, in the Discord about Hewitt. And I'm a big fan of Hewitt, must be said. He's scoring. He's a pod. He goes under the radar, doesn't cop any attention from opposition players because there's obviously Walsh and Cripper there. I think he's a great pick. He is a great pick. I don't know what he's priced at. I'll have to check that out because that's probably the other big factor to weigh up. So 513, he's priced 94.3K below his starting price. So he's a great pick. Reminds me so much of the time when it might have been 3 or 4 seasons ago when Walsh went down injured, and it might have been Doherty as well, and it allowed Hewitt to step up his game, get extra CBAs, and he was a great buy at that stage, and I got him on my team as well, and I was very, very happy. So I do like him, mate. I endorse it. G'day, Nemo. Hope you're well, mate. I think Day has great scoring potential, but even in best case scenario, I think they will rest him at least once before season's end. Great call. Great call. They don't want another injury to him. He is so crucial to their prospects going forward into the final series. So you might find towards the back end of the home and away season that maybe they manage him in game at the very least, or maybe give him a week off here or there. They still need to keep him fit, of course, but he only had 71 or 70% game time, so he's still being managed in game. So they might dial him up still, but then maybe rein it back a bit. But he's looking good. He's looking pretty fit, must be said. But great call there, Nemo, for anyone that is considering Day. Just factor that in. Shano was considering Durham, but now with Caldwell, Parrish, and even McGrath back, I'm not sure he gets bulk mid-time now. Thoughts? Well, mate, we spoke about it on the podcast. Now, I don't know if you had tuned into it because we had a chat about this very thing. Virtually what it is and what I did was looking at the CBAs for Essendon. Now, it helps that Sardis is out of the team because Sardis, now I don't understand why he is again, but Sardis was getting 43% CBAs. He automatically gets wiped. So there's 43% CBAs there that can be given to Parrish and Caldwell. But still, obviously, that's not enough. At their height, Parrish averages around about anywhere between 65 and maybe 70%. So that makes up a bulk of Parrish's CBAs he's going to get. He'll probably need to get another 20% from somewhere. And Caldwell as well. You can see in the games there that he was playing, he actually had games there where he wasn't getting many rotations through the middle. Of course, since he's been injured, they've had a changeover in coach at the Dons. So we don't know how he's going to be played by Solomon. But by and large, he's been having around about 40 to 50% CBAs. So I think those CBAs need to come from somewhere, obviously. I think Sullivan Roby, who already had CBAs reduced last week, he might lose CBAs altogether, or at least get that chopped in half by 20%. That means 20% can go on top of Parrish. He'll get around about 60, 65% in that case. So they need to find, we'll say, about 40% CBAs for Caldwell. And I think, Durham, what he has been doing he's been getting bulk CBAs. Like last week, he had the second most behind Setterfield, and the week prior to that, he had the equal second most alongside Roby and behind Setterfield. So I anticipate Setterfield's going to be losing some CBAs. I reckon around about 20%. So there's 20% there that automatically goes to Caldwell. And then if we shave, some CBAs off, Durham could potentially be impacted, goes down to 50%, 60% maybe. That automatically makes up that difference for Jai Caldwell. So I think he probably will be impacted. As to the extent, we'll just have to wait and see. But I still think he's doing enough damage in the engine room for the Dons that they would be stupid to remove him altogether. In terms of other guys that may be losing CBAs, Merritt is another one as well. He's already had his CBAs reduced, but has been playing Tom off halfback. Maybe again he gets another, removal of CBAs from his rotation. So there are guys of that caliber that I think will allow Durham to still have time in the midfield. And again, that'd be stupid. Solomon would be very, very silly to remove Durham altogether. So I think he will be having some CBAs shaved off what he's been having, but not enough, I don't think, to impact his scoring. But that's just me. It's something I did factor in when I got him, 2-3 weeks ago. And yeah, I think he's going to be fine. I do think he will be fine. Jack, with the Giants list, I think this season is a massive fail for them. Yep. In my opinion, Kingsley is in trouble if nothing changes next year. I think Kingsley is a decent coach, but it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Especially if they lose the likes of Toby Green, which at this stage, it sounds as if he's going to be moving on, surprise, surprise, to a Geelong. I don't think the Pies would want to go for him, but the Cats, if they get him, which is getting their hands on all these really good players, but it's a bit of a fail. They have guys there that have been decent across the journey. Josh Kelly's injured. You have Canilio, who's not the same player, and they're getting injuries left, right, and center. They almost need another play in the engine room. They've already got Clary, of course, but with Tom Green going down, first choice midfielder, they've had players rotate through the midfield that just aren't getting it done. And with Grzycki going down, however you pronounce his name, is pretty shit for the Giants as well, because if Hogan, I think they probably will have to give Hogan another year now off the back of this, because that was kind of the discussion point. Do they potentially move Hogan on, give a contract to Grzycki, and I'm butchering his name every single time I say it, but you know what I'm talking about. So do they give him an extra contract or vice versa? But, now I think they've kind of answered that with the poor young bloke going down injured. But yeah, they've underachieved for sure, because they've been going up, and they've stagnated and kind of gone back a bit, which would be very frustrating. Jonas, I have the ZZ ruck defender loop. If Gawn, Grundy, Jackson is out, I can swing Kahan to the flex. Well, that's all right, man. You've got it sorted then, if that's the case. That's incredible. You've worked out a way there, mate, because I know you've been struggling to have warm bodies on the bench with a lot of your rookies, non-playing players. So at least that helps you out there. With me, meanwhile, I've got Liam Reedy, who I brought him into my team strategically to allow me to get my flex player in Cherry into R3 if he wasn't playing, which he's not now, and then swing someone from the forward bench into my flex. Issue is, both of my players on the bench in the forward line, in Oscar Steen and Banfield, aren't playing. So I can't benefit unless Banfield comes back. Come on, Ross the boss. Do it, mate. Do it. Punter, cancel that Hewitt trade this week. I'll need to do two trades to get him, holding my 5 trades for now. Yep, hold those 5 trades, mate. Much like me, I'm going down to 4 trades next week in terms of going from Sinclair to the Wang. And then I'm sitting pretty, holding onto those trades for as long as I can. 4 trades with 8 weeks to go or whatever. As I've always said, half a trade a week, virtually averaged out, is what I want to maintain for the remainder of the season. Jonas, hey Damo, get Nemo SuperCoach to give you SuperCoach live stream on Sunday morning. A plug. 100%, mate. Nemo, didn't realize you're doing a live stream on Sunday mornings now, mate. But I do know he's been doing his live streams. I don't know if he did it tonight. Apologies because I wasn't online to check it, but he did last week have a live stream tonight or on Friday, last Friday. But it looks as though, according to you, Jonas, that he's having his live stream on Sunday morning. So bit of a shout out, Nemo SuperCoach. Go and check out his channel. An incredible, knowledgeable super coacher and a great bloke at that. So go and check out his channel, subscribe, and check out the live stream for those of you who want a bit of a debrief on Sundays, of course. Brian, hey mates, which Saint improves their score the most with sync out? I think, you can't go past that man, the Wang. The way that he is playing is just next level. When he's playing off halfback, and I spoke about it again in the weekly podcast, go and check it out, and just scrub through to the trade segment and where I chat about the Wang. But the big thing here you'll see is the past couple of weeks when he's been, even the past 3 weeks, but the past 2 especially, he's been taking the most kick-ins. Sinclair has been having that stranglehold with kick-ins, but he went in round 14, double the amount of kick-ins than Sinclair. And of course, Sinclair went down injured, so he wasn't able to take one in round 15. But it really does beg the question. He is someone now that is elevating his game back to those heights. I think he's averaging, I think it's like 111 or 115-ish when he's actually playing off halfback compared to when he is playing in the middle, historically, the Wang. And they need him back there. Without Sinclair, they need his run and drive. It goes without saying. They can plug him, I think, in the middle. Some might argue that his impact in the middle is greater, sure. But when you also factor in when he's playing in the midfield, how often he gets tagged and it nullifies that impact, I think it probably makes sense that he is playing off halfback. But you have a look at the games where he's been playing off halfback. Look at the CBAs. So last 2 games, 144, 135. All these games here, by and large, have been playing in the midfield, bar maybe that one. So anything below 50% will count as playing, 50% CBAs that is, will count as playing off halfback. So he's been averaging 122.3 in 3 games off halfback compared to 104.9. So that's kind of tail of the tape there. 104.9 versus 122.3. I know different sample sizes, but you can go back and have a look, even 2025. When he's been playing predominantly in the midfield, $115.4. So, yeah, I mean, you can go back through it. It'll probably take ages to do, but you get the picture that he averages way more playing off halfback. So he'll probably benefit. I would say that Wilkie potentially as well, because there was that, small sample size, a couple of weeks ago when it was Wangan and Miller are moving back into the defence to avoid attention in the midfield. Sinclair was there as well, and Wilkie struggled. So I think Wilkie might get back to his decent scoring. And yeah, I think that the Wang, if you don't have him, I wasn't considering him, bringing him back into my team because I had him, and then when he got injured, I traded him out. But I think he's probably the one for me that will complete my defense now. Clifford, it is Hale. There you go. It reminds me of Dan Aykroyd in the movie Coneheads. Yeah, I thought of that as well, Freaky. Thought of that as well. Very funny. To get Durham in one trade, or be patient and maybe use 2 trades and get a higher end primo. Depends how many trades you got left, mate. That will probably guide you more than anything. Like if you can't afford to use 2 trades, use the one and go for Durham. But you've said there, I do question with Essendon. Too many questions, I think. Makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, the guy's coming back, does throw, pigeons, a cat amongst the pigeons, should say. But yeah, we won't know until we see, the 1 game sample size this week when they're all in the one team. But I think longer term, Setterfield probably will go out of the team, in all honesty. Jack, I've never understood the Giants' consistency, but when they play the Lions, they usually dominate, and they destroyed us this year. That was disgusting to watch. Yeah. It makes you wonder as well, like teams match up so well against certain teams, and you're left questioning why. Aaron, problem is I have Zach Bailey, Track, Shees, Horn Francis, and Pickett. Who else is there in the forward line? I've currently 3 rooks not playing, so need someone. What do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're talking about the bye week, mate, I wouldn't be bringing someone in just for this last bye week. Grin and bear it. If you're having to play a rookie, or if you're going one short in the forward line, it's a best 18 week. Unless you are struggling to field the best 18, maybe think about it. But I think round 16, we have by and large a bulk of the better prospects on the bye. So that's what makes this bye week so hard, because you've got Baslenka, you've got Max Gorn, guys of that ilk that you could be trading into, and they're on the bye. So yeah, it's really hard to sort of upgrade the team this week. Corey, intensity is different for the scaling if you watch on the Footy Scores website too. If it is close, yes, Footy Scores have the scaling distribution as well, which again is Punter Unlimited Trades AFL Fantasy. That's crazy. I remember when I started SuperCoach, we only had 20 trades. Indeed, we did. Might give fantasy a go next season. Yeah, I've been playing fantasy, but I lose interest. I really do. Like, I know you can use trades, and the trade aspect is funny, but you get trading fatigue, believe it or not, because it's kind of like there are weeks there where you're like, well, I need to trade someone. Who do I trade out? And you're kind of forced into making a trade because everyone else is. And then you almost need to be zeroed in to like almost the stock market of players. And unless you are, you will miss guys to jump on. And that's happened to me. Like, I'm not really, hyper focusing in on AFL fantasy and which guys to jump on for a week and then punt. I'm obviously 100% in SuperCoach, but I just do it as a bit of a have some trades here and there and have a bit of willy-nilly go about it. But yeah, it's a different kettle of fish. Jonas, if Perez hadn't have fumbled the ball, I got a free kick for getting pushed in the back, he wouldn't have even beat his break-even of 32. I remember seeing that, and I was like, you lucky fella. Clifford, Sherry Jackson with 4 trades left, that is the question. I would do it, mate. I would do it. If that completes your team, I would do it, in all honesty. Jackson, I think, is someone that at this stage is looking like he's going to be a top 2 ruck. Grundy, he's slowing down. He's sharing the ruck with Laddams. Cherry's having his own issues. He's playing too much time on the bench. He's sharing the ruck. Sharing the ruck load. So it's really Gorn and Jackson for me as the 2 standouts. Freaky, Whitfield did a shit short 15-meter kick from fullback, which was intercepted by Chol, and a goal. Lost 1 point for an ineffective kick. I'm sorry, but that's just shitful. Yeah, that's like a direct turnover. And you should be, I don't know if players are punished scoring-wise if their turnover leads directly to a goal. Yeah, don't know. We need a cat cameo. Yeah, well, he was on the vid, the stream last night, mate, on our other channel, Blue Baggers Edge. So if you check out the stream from last night, early days, you will see him over my shoulder pop out. And he was actually, I think it was in the captain's, I'm the captain now, of course, heading into this round. Check it out because he pops up probably midway point through the video. You'll see him, he like pops up because there's like a cut that I had to do a bit of a retake, and he like pops out of nowhere on my shoulder behind me on the cat postie. Paddy loves it. But that's funny because as soon as I start streaming, I must be too loud, and I don't blame him, but sits next to me on the chair here, the co-pilot set as I call it. And as soon as he hears me starting to stream, he's like, "No, I'm up, I'm out of here." So he sits at the door and he's like, just wants to go out. So leave it open for him. Corey, for my rank, I went yellow players lately as I was trying to win my league. Yeah, fair enough. Respect it. Jack, did you watch the full Lions game last night, mate? If so, what were your thoughts on Logan Morris's goal? I didn't see it. He clearly didn't try and improve his kicking opportunity. I hate that rule. Yeah, I didn't see it at all. I did hear about it, but it sounds as though he was kicking on an arc. Isn't it funny, though, because you look at the likes of Buddy Franklin back in the day, He used to kick on an arc every single set shot. He used to wheel around, and very rarely did umpires call him play on. And if it was a kick after the siren, I can guarantee they wouldn't have been calling play on Buddy Franklin, unless there's an incident that eludes me. But they're clamping down on that. Again, it's a rule that they are hyper focusing on in recent times, and I don't know why. But yeah, sounds pretty shit. G'day, Nathan. Enjoy the Wiggles today. I did indeed, mate. I did indeed. Mind you, our little man, Felix, for those people who don't know, my son, Felix, he's almost coming up to a year and 1 month. Isn't funny? People always say with regards to the age of their children, once they've passed 12 months, they go into months, 13 months, 14 months, 15 months. It gets to a point where it's ridiculous and you're actually having to do math in your own head. I don't know about you out there, but I always find it ridiculous. And you're like, oh, so how old is your kid? And they're like, 23 months. And you're like, 23 months? So he's a month away from turning 2. Why not just say he's almost 2? Stuff like that just makes no sense to me. But anyway, that's by the way. So we took him to the Wiggles today. He loves the Wiggles, one of his favorite. Every time it's on TV, he lights up and starts dancing. Loves it. Today, he had a bit of fun. I think he was kind of perplexed by the fact that they were actually real people and not just characters on a TV screen, like when he's watching cartoons and stuff, like on ABC Kids he watches. And he was like, this is interesting. And then he got because by the time that we got there, the show started at 1 at, I think it's Festival Hall, I think it is. And yeah, we went in there and halfway through he was falling asleep. So I literally had him cradled in my arms. And mind you, the show itself goes for like an hour and a bit, if that. So we had to wake him up towards the 20 minutes to go. And we're like, mate, you got to wake up. We've done a few. Mind you, the tickets aren't that expensive, like $40. They're actually really affordable. So for anyone out there that has kids, go and check out the Wiggles. They're awesome. I was a little bit before the time of the Wiggles. I was born in 88. They came on the scene in 93, I think it was. Or 91, it might have been. But yeah, the Wiggles, they're entertaining. They're funny, everything else. But they've got one original member and they're all newbies virtually. But yeah, you could say that the wife and I enjoyed it just as much, if not more, than little man. But to see his face light up, it's all worth it, 100%. And when are you taking because Nath, you said last night in the stream on Blue Baggers Edge that you were taking your son, I think it was, to the footy for the first time. Which game are you taking him to? Was it Carlton? Because I don't know if you're a Carlton man or if you were just saying generally, depending on who you support, of course. But let us know who. G'day, Coops. Feel free to send me the StreamYard link if you want. If we have a bit of time in the back end, mate, because I must admit I am pretty knackered because I had to get up. Well, wife, she got up first at 4 in the morning because our little one he woke screaming. And then he was at a blood-curdling scream because he was frustrated and wanted his bottle then and there, and woke me up because I'm a pretty deep sleeper and rushed in, and there he was just cracking the shits. So we're both awake at 4 a.m. And then, of course, Wiggles stay and driving there and back and everything else. So we'll see how we go. If it's not a too drawn-out stream, mate, we might get you on. Ads, how are you, mates? Hola, just listening in driving home from the game. Mate, you'd be happy with the win as a Hawks man. They played very well. Back in the mix. Jonas, Sardis was a frustrating 10-week play to make 129K, plenty more where he came from. Yeah, I'm still happy with the fact I held him. He's probably going to be my ticket to my last upgrade, in all honesty. I was looking at maybe using Walsh as my luxury upgrade. I think I'll keep Walsh now for the rest of the season because these long-term injury trades I've had to use have left me a little bit high and dry. But I think Sardis now will be at that price point where I'll just use him to trade up. So see how we go. But yeah, very, very frustrating. What a roller coaster. At least he's made a bit more money compared to those that punted him early days, Jonas. Punter, when will the AFL start introducing field umpires as professional full-time job opportunities? Yes. We are losing quality and gaining non-confident or very nervous umpires. Put the money, full-time training, and then select the best. Make it appealing and viable to be a full-time umpire. 100%. I mean, the AFL has the money, and they probably would say, we can't justify it because they're umpiring one game a round. And what are they doing during the week? They'll be training. But what do the players do? They're full-time. They train multiple times during the week. The umpires can train. They train the rules. They have different, and what I have seen as well at different clubs and working in clubland at Collingwood and Carlton across the journey, they actually get umpires in to officiate the match simulations that they have. That's an opportunity that they should be doing in season if the umpires were full-time, so they can apply the rules that they've been learning and, iron out any of the kinks during the week at training sessions. They'll be assessed, get them to umpire match sims, have senior umpires, whether they be retired or whatever, they're watching on the sidelines, assess their performance in the match sim in terms of their adjudication. Then they can iron out the kinks. It's such a simple thing, isn't it, punter? It really is. But the AFL refuse to take it seriously, and they just want to sweep everything under the carpet. No, the umpiring's been the best it's ever been. It hasn't. We can all see this. Don't lie to us, and make a birthday cake out of dog shit, because that's virtually what it is, and we can see it. We can see it for what it is. It's pretty shit. The umpires should be paid full time, give them a big salary, and off the back of that as well, if they don't perform, they can be held to account because they're earning big dollars. Makes sense, doesn't it? Logic and the AFL do not go hand in hand, punter. Corey, Hogan out, Killer now. Will be interesting to see who is key forward. He could be out for 8 weeks too. Oh, really? I didn't know about Hogan being out for longer, because I know he just came back from injury. So I don't know what did he re-injure, or was it a new injury? Going to be interesting when they say less contracted training, and apparently it's going to be back to 3 field umpires. Thank the Lord, because it's convoluted as it is with more field umpires. But if that's the case, and it's willed down to 3 umpires, it means you would think that there's going to be an emphasis on greater quality and umpires being held to account. But you can guarantee it won't happen. Nemo, you're the man. Demo, thanks for that. And cheers. No worries at all, Nemo. Anytime, mate, you want to promote your channel when you're doing a stream, because I don't know if you're changing times or if you want to make the Sunday stream a regular thing, mate, put it in the chat. I'll whack it up there, mate. Always happy to share spread the love. That's what it's all about. Houseman, anyway, mate. So if you only had 3 trades left and have Sinclair to Nas next week, would you use another trade to do your last upgrade for Murdoch to Durham, or anyone for 420k, or just leave him as F6? So are you saying you're going down from 3 trades to 2 after going from Sinclair to Nas? Or are you saying that you would have 3 trades left after Sinclair and Nas? Sorry, Sinclair to Nas. I would say that Murdoch, if Murdoch's still in your best 22, discounting the flex 23, I would be looking to still upgrade Murdoch. And it depends. If you want to do it now, you can do it. Murdoch's going to start losing money. That's the issue. So I don't mind going for Durham now, but I also reckon you're probably well within your rights to at least wait a week, see what the impact is that the inclusion of Parrish and Caldwell could have on Durham this week. If he's not impacted, bring him in and just wear the loss of money that Murdoch may have, and Durham may go up in price, and make more of a calculated assessment on Durham with a full midfield virtually for the Dons. Otherwise, for 420k, I don't know if there's anyone under that a price point. Let me just log in. Let me just shut the door as well so my son doesn't wake up from me speaking shit. Alrighty. Apologies, ladies and gents. Okay, let's have a look ever so quickly. So 420k, I think it was, you said. It's close enough. Sort of by average. Yeah, Brent Daniels, probably would have been that player, but injured. Yeah, there's no one that sticks out to me. I wouldn't be trading in Jagger Smith. Wouldn't be trading in McKercher. Yeah, and then there's Murdoch. I think Durham's the only real option, I think, at this stage. Yeah. No. I'm going to chalk it up and say Durham's the only real option, man, unless you find money from somewhere. He would be the one at F6. If it's someone in your midfield, if you can switch things around, you could maybe do it. But, yeah, it's a tough one. Punter, what forward cover have we all got? I did have Podaski and now only A. Jones. Of course, Arthur Jones. Jones was going to be upgraded, an upgraded move in the mids. Then I'll have no forward cover. At the moment, mate, I've got zero. I've got, as I said earlier, Banfield and Oscar Steen, but I was looking to trade Steen to that man Podaski. So I'm glad I didn't, and I held strong. And I think I'm just going to have to grin and bear it, really, and hope that I have. I'm not going to get DPP from Ison because he's going to be playing one game short as well. So I think the way I'm going to have to play it is maybe trading a Sartis to someone that is a DPP mid forward. I don't know who it could be, but yeah, I don't know. Jonas, I have Zach Bailey at M8. So if a forward goes down, I can swing Bailey forward and play Fitzgerald or Herbert on field at M8. Weak at M8, but I need the cover going down to 2 trades with a full team. Yeah, I think you can probably you can roll with that. And you're smart as well because you're trying to play the long game. Some people are going super hard, has been over the Skodfather, down to 0 trades this week. Where if you don't, even if you have ample cover off the bench, you're going to be virtually using them. If you have a long-term injury, you're going to have to be using those rookies off the bench full-time on field, which isn't a good thing to be or a good situation to be in. So I think that's a smart move there. Jonas, fantasy team is on fire this year, top 1K. Well done, Corey. I just get to a stage where I have like one really bad week and I just lose interest. It's frustrating, fantasy. Or if I miss jumping on a guy that everyone else has jumped on and I'm like, because I'm not paying enough attention. Punter, come on, guys, get on the DeGoey train, the black and white powerhouse. Mate, he's too expensive now, DeGoey. Jordan DeBlowy, 489.2. He would probably be the other one. Like, if you can find money, who was asking the question? Houseman, if you can find another, what's that? Another, what was he? If you can find another 70 or 60K, mate, DeGoey could be the one. He could be the one. But again, durability. Do you want to take the risk? I know you're big on him, though, Punter. Freaky, ranked 3K, should be about 50 points behind you, Damo. 7 trades and 120K. Sinclair to Nass is 1. Very nice. Held Archie Roberts well. There you go. Clark will be D6. Need one more mid and flex. Here's hoping. Mate, you're in a good spot. 7 trades. Money in the bank. I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be good. Clark isn't the strongest D6. We know that. But I think there's at least, I reckon the last spot in every single line, someone's going to be, like most teams, will have at least one player that isn't the strongest, whether it be D6, M8, F6. That's just the way kind of it works out. You have to be skimping at least in one position, I reckon, for the sake of salary cap. Clifford Buddy was the AFL's pet. Umpires judged everything he did differently. Yep. The Morris call was terrible. The AFL has already apologised. Bad call by the ump. There you go. Jonas, 23 months old, AK almost 2. Come on, Damo. You and Liam used to say a player in SuperCoach was priced at 523.4K instead of 523K. Mate, we like to say the specific price. That's different to saying doing maths, the equivalent of in your head trying to work out what's 23 months in. Oh yeah, that's almost that's 1.11 months old. So come on, Jonas, get off it. Remember an umpire last year said he only watches like 2 games a week. The umpires should be watching the majority of the other games. Yeah, and to that point as well, I know for a fact that players, having, of course, worked in clubland across 2 different clubs, they use software where they're analysing not only their own game, but also the game of their line. By their line coach will go through and analyze and pick out specific moments for individual players to show them how they played, how they could improve, things they did right, all that sort of stuff. But also if they play in the forward line, how the forward line was structured up. It's a bit of software that they use, and I was clipping up a few things as well for the recruiting team for some of the players that the team that I was working for was trying to identify and compile information for. So I know it firsthand. But yeah, the fact that the players are having that done, the umpire should be doing the exact same thing. They should be looking at it from an umpiring perspective. How are they umpired? Everything else. So yeah, it's, again, just standards, isn't it? It comes down to standards. Freaky, I promise I didn't just make myself a bowl of Haagen-Dazs coffee and Belgian chocolate chip ice cream treat, mate. Enjoy. Which, by the way, Freaky, I'm looking at your avatar. Was this in fact you on the board that Hawthorn were holding up on the bench? Is there a bit of a just joking, mate? I'm not taking the piss, because my hair, it is luscious, but it used to be thicker than this, that's for sure, for a thick head that I have. So as I age, it's getting thinner, and I'm a little bit scared. So you might have to give me some tips, mate. But maybe that was you. Is that you? Go El Natural. That's what I say. Embrace it. But enjoy that ice cream, mate. I'm very jealous. That's for sure. What do we all have for dinner, by the way? Because I don't know if those of you out there have it takeaway night on Friday night like myself. Did it when I was living at home, and wife and I do it every single Friday. Tonight, I was in a conundrum. I was like, do I go for Chinese? Do I go for dumplings? Or do I go for the tried and tested? One of my favorites is a local kebab place, the suburb across from me in Craigieburn. One of the best kebabs you'll ever have. Got a kebab with chips, which they had a bit of a special. It was actually a HSP small pack. So I was going to get chips anyway. And it was marked down like $8 cheaper. So I was like, you know what? I'll get that. Didn't end up eating the kebab because this filled me enough. And I was like, I'm not going to be an absolute slob and eat that as well as the chips and the mini HSP pack. So yeah, it was that was good. So that was my Friday night treat, if you want to call it that. Darren, yay, finally home after work. How did Felix enjoy his birthday party? Thank you, Darren. Hope you're well, mate. Good to see you dropping by. And thank you for the question. Yeah, he absolutely enjoyed it, mate. It's the kebab playing, well, not the kebab, but the HSPs playing up on me. He enjoyed it because it was the Very Hungry Caterpillar themed. My wife put in an incredible amount of planning and effort. There was virtually like little activations and stuff, and little things that we had on display, tying in with the theme, but also photos of him up on the wall, because he's had, as I mentioned earlier in other streams, he's had quite the journey. 4 months of his life to begin. We're in the NICU and everything else, and to see how far he's come has been incredible. But he enjoyed it, mate. Absolutely loved it. So, just to see the smile on his face, and also have our extended families, some of which hadn't met him before, because being in NICU, we only allowed our close immediate family to come in and see him due to, not wanting to expose him to potential pathogens and everything else, because very susceptible, obviously, with the lung side of things. So my cousins, for example, a lot of them hadn't met him yet. So it was great to see, like, they'd met him. They'd only really seen him with the photos we're putting up on social media. So across his journey, of course. And it was great to see, them meet him and have a bit of a cuddle. So it was great, mate. So thank you for the question there. G'day, Maddie, another legend, of course, who supports us on YouTube on our channel here as a member. Hope you're well, mate. And how did your horse go? I'm sure I ask you this all the time, but I think I asked you about 2 weeks ago, mate. So I'm sure your horse would have been running by now, or is it still running? Is it that sort of horse? But I think you said it was running. Might have been last week, potentially. So how's it going? Hope you're well, mate. Corey, his hip got reactivated. That's what Jason McCartney said before the game with Hogan. Yep. You can probably get a better Primo Giro for $998K instead of Wangan and Miller and a 420 fake Primo. I don't know about that. I think the upside that the Wang holds, it would be hard to find anyone else to match that. just the fact that he's going back to the role of halfback, and we know that he scores quite well, will be, by and large, avoiding any attention from the opposition. Like we heard from Bevo in the Dogs game, the win over the Saints. He didn't care if the Wang got 55 disposals. The fact that he only had, I think it was like 5 or 6 scoring involvements, they weigh his impact based upon that. And he's able to pick it up off halfback. He's such a clean user of the footy, and he's kind of tucked away off halfback. So I can see why opposition teams would prefer him there compared to in the midfield where he's having a direct impact and he is having direct score involvement. So I think the Wang is right up there in terms of, I find it hard to think of another player that you would be getting, apart from the obvious in Jackson, Gawn, Bont, Dacos, all those players that speak for themselves. Baslinka even as well, because he's coming down in price. But the Wang, I think, probably averages a fair bit more than the next best defender even. Like, compare it to Ash, compare it to Whitfield. He's going to be averaging, I reckon, around about 10 points better most weeks when he's at the top of his game. Average that out over the next, however many weeks we've got to go. 10 to 15 plus, I reckon, if you want to be generous. And you can find, 420K players. And as I said, that a lot of teams have not the strongest player in their F6, their D6, their M8, which you've spoken about with your own team, Jonas. You've got an M8 player that isn't a primo. So I think you kind of need to skimp. So yeah, I would much prefer to be going for the Wang, in all honesty. Clifford, cannot believe that clubs with such a focus on head trauma don't make players wear headgear for any contact training sessions. Nothing stupider than lose a player from training concussion. Yeah, you're right, mate. You're right. I mean, there's studies that's been done into using headgear. It does help reduce the impact of surface level injuries and some concussion. But even in the NFL, we've seen like they all wear helmets that virtually like there's that much space between, like when they put the helmet on, there's padding all over their head and there's space. And then there's a plastic actual helmet on the outside. So in theory, they should not be getting concussed, but it doesn't matter what you're wearing on top of your skull. Your head and your brain rattles inside your skull, no matter the impact. So it's one of those things that you're still going to be privy to some sort of potential brain injury, concussion, whatever level that may be. So for me, it's like an aesthetic thing. And yes, it does help to an extent, but again, it means you're still, there's the worry there that even in the NFL, you see players throwing their bodies in, they're leading with their heads because they think that they're indestructible with helmets. Again, the brain rattles inside your skull. So yeah, it's the limiting of contact, I think, is so stupid as well, because they're going to be going so easy during training where we're going to be finding players getting injured regardless during the game. Like they're not going to be match hardened or conditioned in that sense there. So I reckon there's going to be even more injuries. That wouldn't surprise me. Darren, after I get Nas in next week, I will have 9 trades, 25 grand, needing only a flex. And if Thilthorpe stinks, is Ashcroft worth chasing? I don't know about Ashcroft. I don't know, because his scoring has been a little bit all over the shop, must be said. Like his recent games have been great. We know that. Is it a decent price point? Yes. But 77K below his starting price. He doesn't have the consistency, apart from obviously the game against Richmond, got off the chain, and against the Swans. It always helps and makes it look sexy when you have a player have big scores back to back that they haven't been scoring across the rest of the season. But I also see there's a trap. So you could go for Ashcroft. He'd be a definite pod. He's only owned by 6.9% of coaches. I would look elsewhere personally, Darren, but it's up to you, mate. Fantasy is so boring, sends me to sleep. Stopped years ago. Yep, I agree. Too many trades. Unlimited trades is not the way to go. Matty, a quick hello, buddy. I hope all's well. SuperCoach still sinking, but won a nice 22K last week in the form of one of my... There you go. You've answered it, mate. In the form of one of my horses having a big win at Flemington. Well, mate, that's awesome. Had a good go at it. Won well by 2 lengths. Mate, I imagine Are you talking in terms of money won as a part owner of the horse? Or is it that in combination with punting? Of course, gamble responsibly, of course. But I'd be keen to hear, Matty, because obviously it depends on the percentage that you own of the horse. And I don't know what your ownership percentage is, but obviously of the prize money gets divvied out to the jockey and trainer, everything else. But in terms of the owners, they get the rest of it, I imagine. So what percentage do you own of the horse, and how much did you get of the total prize money that it won? But yeah, not a feature race, but a big race course like Flemington, surely it would have been going well, mate. But well done to you. Well done to you. And how much are fees? Like over the course of 12 months to own a horse, what are the fees? And do you see much return on investment, apart from obviously when it has nice wins like that? But what's the return on investment as an owner of a horse? Corey, hearing North is the favourite to get Darcy Wilson due to his family being North supporters, and his uncle is Mick Nolan, who played with North. Mate, he'd be a great get for North. I'd love him at Carlton. Like, great speed. He would be the winger that we would love to have at the club. But if North get him, mate, you've done very well. And I laugh at St Kilda. I really do, because it was always going to get to this point where they were throwing money at the players like, TDK, Sauce, Liam Ryan, Flanders, all these players. They think, oh, yeah, we can splash the cash, and they'll talk in a big game. And I'm like, you're going to get to a point where your existing players are coming out of contract. You're not going to be able to afford them. And we're seeing it already, sooner than what I thought, but seeing it already with Darcy Wilson, a great young player. Just so dumb. So dumb. Freaky, no, his tongue wasn't sticking out. What's that with regards to, mate? Because I'm about 10 minutes behind the comments here. Make a poll anyway. Takeaway favourites. All right. I think we may have done this the other week. I think we did it. I think because we did Pizza Hut, we did Domino's. But I don't know. Let us know what options do you want in the poll, okay? Before I construct it, you can construct it for me. If you want to go with that, takeaway favourites, because we need to put some options in the poll. And what do you know? Let us know what you mean by that, Freaky, because I've that's gone straight over my head. Sorry. Ask him, hey mates. Final upgrade is my F6. Money not an issue. Do I go Durham, DeGoey, Marshall, Bailey? Not Chad Warner. Don't go for him. Or anyone else. Cheers. I have Cos, Shees, Track, Shay, and the horny one. Ooh, I do like Jordan DeBlowy. I think he's got a really big ceiling. We've seen that. He's got a great game coming up this round against Richmond. Durham probably would be the next best. Rowan Marshall, is he injured? Did he cop an injury last week? He might be fine. Otherwise, I do like Zach Bailey. Chad would be the bottom of the list, I reckon. Actually, what is Zach Bailey priced at? $467. Yeah. Okay. So for I think it was House, I think it might have been the username, was asking about a player 420 plus. You could go for, if you can find 40K, you could go up to Zach Bailey. But I think all those guys you've mentioned there, Sim, are the main ones to choose from. DeGoey I'll like for upside if you have extra trays up your sleeve, just in case he gets injured down the line. Durham's a little bit of an unknown with regards to performance with the two inclusions in Parish and what's his name? The other dude, the ex-Essendon, sorry, ex Giants player, is it? Sorry, my brain is not working. I'm starting to shut down my brain. I'm that tired. Caldwell and Parish. So when they return, don't know, which is this week, of course, don't know how it's going to impact Durham. But I'd probably go for DeGoey if you've got some extra trays up your sleeve. Durham, Bailey, Marshall, Chad, probably in that order. Matty, this week Sinclair to Herbert. Next week, Naz and Smith come in, mate. Great inclusions. How many trays you got left as well, Matty? Keen to hear. Clifford, Craigieburn, near to you. You can't be far from me in Funbury. I'm in Wallet, mate. So just north of Epping and what's that? East of Craigieburn. So there you go. Chicken kebab for me tonight. Very nice. Friday night is kebab night during footy season. Every night, Freaky. Every night. A dirty kebab. Do you have a kebab store nearby you like I do? Because that's always my go-to is the Buddy's Kebabs. If you're in Craigieburn or nearby, head to Buddy's Kebabs. You will not be disappointed. Have a look on Uber Eats. It's one of the highest rated. In terms of takeaway places in Craigieburn or the surrounding areas, it is schmick. It is incredible. Amazing. Because they've got an option there for the normal Turkish bread, but also the traditional Lebanese wrap, which I normally have the Lebanese wrap, but tonight I went for the Turkish bread variety. Just mix it up. And anyone that has tried Spaniards, this is a bit of an offshoot. Has anyone out there tried Spaniards kebabs? You know, Spaniard, the bloke, he was actually in jail and he's turned his life around. He's one of the big influencers, if you want to call him that, on Instagram, YouTube. Funniest bloke. Like, he's a real muzzer. I don't think he's a muzzer, but he acts like a muzzer. Funny dude. And he's actually gone and founded his own kebab place or kebab van. He got one in Preston, if you're in Victoria, know where that is. Go and check it out if you haven't. Not bad, must be said, but very, very expensive. Very expensive, that's the only thing. Punter, Friday night footy and fish and chips was a traditional dinner in my family when I was younger. Very nice. What do you go for now, Punter? That's the big question. Wilkie is at a great price with Sinclair out. This should increase his scoring output. Yep, hopefully, mate, because I'm an owner. Maddie, yes, it was in race 4 at Flemington. I'm a tease. I love that. Good horse name. Won very well. Back there, not tomorrow, but following Saturday in a 1,200 metre race. Very good, mate. Very good. And how does it work in terms of your percentage ownership? As I was saying, I don't know if you might have already answered it in a question. Oh, you have, mate. Sorry. Don't answer that because I will go through it. I'm catching up to the comments ever so slowly. But well done to you, Maddie. Jamie, howdy, everyone. Howdy, mate. Had a tough night tonight, Supercoach-wise. Bloody Daniels had to go down this week after I get him, doesn't he? It just never stops, Damo. Now, Jamie, you might have been the one who was asking me about getting on Daniels. And I think I might have said, if it was you, just make sure you have a spare trade up your sleeve, which I shouldn't laugh because I've been there myself. But it's the reason why now I am avoiding players with bad durability. That time of year, it gets you. It gets you and it cooks you. And it takes the air out of your season, doesn't it? When you have, especially late in the piece when trades are dwindling and you have a player you've just brought in, literally brought in, and he goes down injured. Feel for you, Jamie. Feel for you, mate. Corey, Brisbane does have a great run to finish, though. Indeed. Freaky, what does Naz average from now and what does Baz average? Does Baz get a rest with that ridiculously juicy run at year's end? So much water to go under the Supercoach bridge yet. Yeah, it's a very good question. Very good question. I think Baz is encountering a little bit of a lapse in form, it must be said. I think he's carrying, I know they've said he's out through injury, but if anyone can answer this, early season, remember there was rumors about him being injured. Was it his calf or his shoulder or something else entirely? Because I do remember there was multiple weeks there where there was talks of him being rested. And the fact that he's being rested through illness quite early on, I think that was spoken about. I'm not buying it. So personally, I'm keen on Baz and I was going to get him after this round. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off a little bit longer. But in terms of your question, Freaky, and I'd open it up to all of you tuning in as well. Let us know who you think averages more from here on out. Naz or Baz? We might actually make this a poll. First poll of the night. Let's do it. Who averages more? More from here on out virtually for the rest of the season. So this is the poll. To vote, type the number corresponding to the option. So don't type the actual answer because it won't count. Just type the number. Don't put a dot, just the number, and your comment will count in the poll. For me, personally, I think Naz will out-average Baz, in all honesty. I really do think he will. I think Baz will start to slow down now. He's already shown signs of that. His recent scores haven't been the best. And for those of you who are keen to jump on him, he's sub 600K for the first time all season. And he went on a nice little run there. But 106, 109, he's slowing down. He's still turning up, which is great. But the past few weeks, he's dropped over 36K in 2 weeks. Has a huge break even again, 147. Well, for him, it's achievable. But for me, the one thing that appeals for Baz, where I would be considering picking him up, is the last 4 rounds of the year, which of course is the SuperCoach finals. Plays Collingwood, Essendon, North, and Richmond. So that will be the week I'm jumping on him, round 21. And at that stage, hopefully I've avoided long-term injuries and I've got trades to spare. So he'll be my sights from there on out. But I do think Naz, if you're looking at it in terms of fixturing, where is he? Wang. Let's just type in Wang. It'll come up. There we go. The Wang man. So slightly cheaper, but already seen across the past 2 weeks, 135, 144. Faces Essendon coming out of the bye. Then Port Adelaide, both of which do give up points. North Melbourne, he still plays. Then he faces Richmond in his second last game and Gold Coast. Let's have a look in terms of, where are we? Let me just log in to DFS Australia. And we'll have a look at defense v position. So for the remainder of the year. Actually, it'd be round by round, will it not? I don't think this is SuperCoach, though. If you do it via this, I think this is fantasy, which isn't ideal, but there is a bit of crossover here. So we'll just check this out first. So for St Kilda, they have nice matchup against Essendon, neutral against Port, a little bit harder against Geelong, North, who are restrictive, good game against Sydney, restrictive Carlton, great game against Richmond, and a neutral game against Gold Coast. If you look at it in terms of midfielders for the Cats, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 neutral games. Round 22, an easy game against Essendon. North, which is a bit of a harder game, and Richmond, an easy game. So their fixturing, which is why I say jump on at Collingwood, that's going to be the time to get Baz. But I think that the Naz has potential to go bigger for longer. Jonas, statement regarding helmets, please open up on your Discord and see the article in the general discussion forum. Why don't male boxers have to use head guards in Olympic boxing? Head protection has been removed. I assume because... Oops. Okay. I might try and show this on screen, Jonas, so people know what I'm talking about here. Where are we? I need to stop the screen and I need to share this. We can read it together. Alrighty, so Olympic boxing is the protective helmets. Devastating event cause international. Men fight without protective helmets while women do. Athletes were less likely to suffer concussions when not wearing head guards. Combat interruptions were reduced 43% without protective helmets. Okay. Doesn't really add too much too much info, must be said. But yeah, you can look at the NFL and there's a whole host of studies there with regards to concussion. And Concussion, the movie with Will Smith, great movie. Not that I really rate him as an actor, but really good movie. So check it out if you haven't. And yeah, begs the question. I think with sport, contact sport, it's inevitable. You're going to have those injuries. You can't really do too much about it. Where are we? Tiger Matty. I have 10%, which equates to about 6,500 after jockey, trainer, etc. A horse costs about 7K a month when in full work, less in the paddock. Wow, okay. So you win 6.5K, is it what you're talking about, if via 10% ownership? But you're paying 7K a month. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. So return on investment wise, unless your horse is in like feature races and winning like, or at least placing in big races, I imagine you're going to be probably forking out more money than what you're seeing in returns. Is that right, Matty? Is that the way kind of it would work? Thank you for the insight there. That's interesting. Corey, what was your thoughts on Cottrell and his harmonica performance in the song? Mate, incredible. Incredible. Love seeing that sort of shit. Great bit of banter, and he's that sort of character. And the team's winning and they can get up and about. It's good for morale. Team bonding, love it. Freaky, the David Hale pick when you jokingly asked if it was me. Oh, sorry, let me go back because you said, his tongue wasn't sticking out. Very, very good. Very good. Hey, it could be anyone with a bald head. It could be me. If I'm shaving my head, could be me even. Darren, thanks. Might be better to get cash in over the next month and see who's firing than have coming at flex Walshy at M8. Yeah, I think, as I was saying earlier, in terms of, I don't know if you were watching us early days of this stream, mate, but like I was saying, in terms of the flex, I think it's very hard for most teams to get in an uber primo on the flex because they have to, the money doesn't allow it. The budget doesn't allow it. Even if you have gone for the best cash generating rookies across the journey, I think it's pretty much a waste. I think going for a big priced player in your best 23, and probably is best used going for a cheaper player with high upside, big ceiling, but like a low floor. So in the flex, being the 23 player virtually, it allows you to, take a bit of a fly on him. And if they have that player, whoever it may be, with a big deviation, could be Newcomb. And Newcomb's an interesting prospect because he has kind of a really big ceiling, but can have a low floor. So it allows you to jump on and have those big scores and enjoy those, but also, those floor scores, those poor floor scores, they fall out. So I don't mind you going for coming for the next little bit and having Walshy at M8. I've got Walshy at my M8 at the moment anyway. So I agree with you there. And coming, I've got Cherry. So at least Cumming's playing compared to Cherry, mate. So you're already a step ahead of me. Matty, my 22K was a go with the bookies as he was 25-1 into $8.50. Wow. Still taking me years and years to win at Flemington, so I don't encourage it as a good investment. I am just a tragic. Yeah, horse racing, punting. I must admit, it's a little bit of luck, I think, handed down to me from my grandfather, who used to follow the horses, and I learned a fair bit from him in terms of quaddies, daily double, all those, phrases, which if you're not in the know with horse racing, you'd be like, what's that even mean? But learned across the journey and actually help him put bets on when he was unable to get down to the TAB. And I do it on my sports bet account and stuff and everything else. And I must admit, like for the Melbourne Cup Cox Plate, like all the feature races, I'm actually pretty good at choosing the winner and going for like the trifecta and stuff, which he would always show me. He'd put in like a 50-cent trifecta and it'd get up in like the races that he'd be watching. Whether it be Doomben, Flemington, Moonee Valley, all those places. So yeah, learned a fair bit from my grandfather, and yeah, it's a nice little memory that I have of him, which is awesome. But but that's my only interest I have in horse racing and my know-how. So yeah, that's why I know in terms of, because he was a part owner of a horse which didn't get to the stage of racing at Flemington like yours, but was like at the local tracks, in the countryside virtually, Doomben, all those places, Eagle Farm. But yeah, I think it may have finished third, maybe out of all the races. I don't know how many he had, but he had like a photo on his wall at the nursing home, which I'd always check out and whatnot and chat to him about and reminisce. But yeah, it was not the most profitable venture from him, but he loves his horses and got a fair bit of fun out of it, which is the main thing. Punter in Australia, total race prize money. The purse is broadly distributed with 80 to 85% allocated to the owners, 10% to the trainer and 5% to the jockey. Prize money depends on class of race, yeah, for sure. Which is why it's such a big thing if you're going for like Group 1? Group 1 races. So that's obviously the big feature races at Moonee Valley and Flemington, and draw the big crowds and have the best of the best international horses and everything else as well. So yeah, it's very and Punter Oz, I imagine, given your username, you're a bit of a punter yourself, mate, and you might be across the horses as well. There you go. Freaky, yep, kebab shop is a 5-minute walk away. Love that. Love that. Well, a bit of a check-in with the poll, and we have a dead heat at the moment. So we have 50% with Naz, 50% with Baz. And behind the scenes, for the breakdown, we have 5 votes for Naz, 5 votes for Baz. So get voting if you haven't already. All you need to do, press 1, don't put a dot, press 1 for Naz or 2 for Baz as to who you think will average more from here. Not from what they've averaged up until now, but from here when they return in round 17 onwards. Who's going to average more from round 17 to round 24? That's the question. So get your votes in, ladies and gents. Punter, maidens, class 1 to 5, various handicap races listed in your major races. Group 3, Group 1 being the pinnacle of horse racing. Yep. I must say I'm quite impressed with myself to be across the phrases and to know that much about horses. Goes to show my grandfather, he knew his stuff and imparted a fair bit of knowledge to me, which is always awesome to lean back on. Widescreen, Widescreen TV, mate. You missed the C out of your username. Do you know that? Do you know that there's a typo in your username? Or was it done deliberately? I'm intrigued. I've tried Spanions. It's not really the same as kebab. The bread is slightly different. Quite nice. Yeah, the bread is more. It's more a Turkish, because there is a Turkish kebab, which is Turkish bread. I know with Spanions they actually toast them, which I don't mind. It makes it kind of nice and crispy on the outside. One thing I will say with Spanions is their garlic sauce is impeccable. I know there's been, if you have a look on YouTube, check out Spanion kebabs reviews, and which is one thing I was maybe thinking of starting at one stage. Maybe down the line I might do another third YouTube channel, because I haven't got enough time in the day really to do anything else. But outside of SuperCoach Edge, Blue Baggers Edge, and a food review channel. But Spanions, their sauce, as you've said, there is different, but their sauce is amazing. Some people have said that the sauce is that they've put too much sauce in it, but I really love it. I love garlic sauce, and it was really, really nice. But you said the red cabbage in it for memory. Yeah, the red cabbage when I actually had it at the which would have been, I reckon, about 2, maybe 3 months ago. I tried it at their van that they've got in Preston, across from Preston Macca's, and there's like Hutchie's Kebabs in the corner. There's BP on the opposite corner, and it's literally across, adjacent from BP. So you'll see it there. If you know the area, you'll know what I'm talking about. But the van's there. And when I got it, they said, because when I read it was red cabbage, I hate cabbage. Cabbage is the bane of my existence. One of the vegetables that I despise. I hate it. And I asked them, I said, does it have red cabbage in it? Like, is it, because sometimes they mix it in, they don't actually add it on top. And they said, no, like, we don't put the red cabbage in it anymore. I was like, oh, okay. But then I had a look on, because Uber Eats actually, for anyone in the surrounding areas, it actually, you can get it through Uber Eats, but I'm like 40 to 30 minutes drive away. So I was like, not going to do that because they have to pay an extra fee. But on the Uber Eats, it says that they still have red cabbage, which I'm not, again, a fan of. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. So when I'm down that way, visiting my folks, because they live in Reservoir, I'll stop past and try it again. And yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I didn't have the normal kebab with the Lebanese bread, like a wrap. But I will say the Turkish bread, which I don't really go for, I was quite impressed. Punter, I vary now in regards to takeout. Pizza, kebab, burger, fish, all depends on what I fancy at the time. I'm the same. Wife and I love a bit of dumplings. Dumplings, there's one here in Craigieburn called Shanghai Dumpling. So if you're in the area, or sorry, Shanghai Brothers they're called. They are expensive, but really, really nice. Their food across the board is awesome. If you can find a Chinese shop that does the perfect fried rice, you're onto something, because if they do the basics properly, they more than likely do other dishes just as well, if not better. So their fried rice is really nice, and their dumplings, schmick, love it. But there's also another place around the corner from me, which again, if you're not in Wallet, you wouldn't know, but A really nice place on the corner, which has been open for a little while now. It's quite new, but still, it's still doing the rounds and quite nice. Another nice place. But I'm the same. We go for fish and chips, pizza. Again, another nice. That's the one thing about living at the top end of Australia. I like to call it the top end of Victoria. We have some really nice pizza shops, great kebab shop, fish and chip shop as well. Very nice fish and chip shop. So we're quite flush for decent takeaway. That's for sure. G'day, Kate. How are you? Hope you're well. Can you settle the discussion in the Discord from this afternoon? Is soccer boring? Okay, we might put that up as a bit of a poll because it looks as though there's a dead heat between Naz and Baz as to who averages more for the rest of the season from round 17 to 24. So last chance, ladies and gents. Just have a quick look through, make sure everyone's voted correctly. Yes, you have. So if anyone wants to vote, you have literally 1 minute, and then I'll be finishing it. So Freaky, you have gone for Naz. Punter, you've gone for Baz. Corey, gone for Baz. Nemo, gone for Baz. Kate, you've gone for Baz. DJ's gone for Naz. Clifford for Naz. Jonas for Baz. Freaky, you have said the last 4 weeks scream rest for me. Yes, maybe. Depends on where the Cats are as well, because if they still need to win to guarantee whether it be a top 4 spot or even a top 2 spot, I don't think they can afford to rest him, in all honesty, because he offers a fair bit to the end of the room with his run and carry. So, and of course, we still have the bye between the end of round 24 and it's the pre-finals bye. We've still got that. It's now the wild card round, but if you're top 4, top 8, you're not going to be a part of it anyway. So you're virtually getting a week off. So, but still very good point. Something to factor in. Matty, he'll be in a listed race next Saturday, punter. The Creswick, anyway, has a few issues, so we will see how he gets through this week. But been a little gem so far. I have many slow ones too. Well, hopefully you're onto a good thing now, Matty, with this one. Because you never know. It's the gamble, isn't it? It is the gamble. Punter, I believe Naz will cop more attention by the opposition, especially with Sinclair out. Naz is most dangerous and will be needed to be manned tightly if they can. Well, I think it's much easier to man him when he's in the midfield because virtually if you're having to play a negating role on him as a defender, the opposition needs to find a player to play in their forward line to play a negating role in their forward line. Virtually takes away from one of their attacking options inside forward 50. So it's not as easy in theory, strategically anyway, compared to tagging him at the midfield at the stoppage, every single stoppage or, throw up or whatever. So I think he will, by and large, get away from the attention that he was copying in the midfield. But still, there are some players there that can play a decent negating role playing up forward on a dashing defender. But I think Naz, the way he plays as well, he gets so far up the ground where he literally will find himself in the forward line. Hence the reason why he kicks goals when he's playing off halfback. They need to find a player of the opposition that has the endurance base to stay with him. And it's not as easy as it sounds. It's the same thing that goes for teams that try and tag Dacos. You would think in theory, again, it would be easier to tag him being a midfielder. But because he is able to find space so easily around the ground, not just at the stoppage. At the stoppage, you can probably tag him, play a tight tag. But he's an outside player. That's his bread and butter. So his ability to run all day and find himself in the best positions because he reads the ball and the play so well isn't as easy to do as when he first entered the competition. I think he's kind of got past that point. But good point nonetheless, punter. I do take that on board. Corey, North have been like the third hardest for the last 5 weeks of matchups and hardest for the season for designated kickers. Indeed. As we went through just before on DFS, Daz, you've gone for, who was it, Naz? So Naz is winning. Naz is winning by a vote thus far. And we might end things there. I think who was the deciding vote? Jamie, you won it for Naz. So we might end things there with that poll. And he's won by a vote. Naz, 6 votes to Baz, 5, 55 to 45%. Very nice. It will be close though, nonetheless. Whoever wins, whoever averages the most, we'll wait and see. Now we might put up the poll as well. about the soccer. To your point, Kate, what was it? I'll just get your wording. Is soccer boring? Is soccer boring? Is the question. So we'll keep it simple. All right, so there's 3 options here that I've made. For those of you that are impartial or maybe, kind of fit the bill of not being a massive rusted on fan, but you'll watch the Socceroos, for example. There are those that will say, which is option 1, not boring, and they absolutely love it. They thrive off it. And those who just can't bear soccer as boring, which I imagine Jonas would be one of the first to vote in this. So I get to voting 1, 2, or 3. Where are we? Tom, thoughts on running without Bont for the rest of the year and have Durham, HHK, Herbert, and Elgar as the bench covers with 4 trades left? I would be trying to get Bont into your team at some stage, I think, Tom Rob. He's one of the most owned of the competition. He's got one of the biggest ceilings and one of the biggest floors in the game as well, in terms of, ceilings and floors, not FLAWS floors, FLOORS, because of his minimum scores are still quite high. So I'd be still trying to get him in. As to when, if you want to kind of make a bit of a calculated risk, you could wait a few weeks because you've only got 4 trades left, and maybe wait until maybe with 6 rounds to go, if you've got 4 trades in hand or 7 rounds to go. I think that's a calculated move to maybe use a trade or 2 to get Bont in. But it sounds as if you've got some great cover with Durham, HHK, Herbert, and Elgar. So you're in a good spot. You're in a good spot. At full primo as well. So, mate, doing very well. Matty, Damo, who would you pick out of Sam Banks or Durham? I do like Banks because he's playing back in the role of halfback where he was getting points. And I've actually brought Banks into my fantasy team, believe it or not. So I think you can probably make an argument for either. You could make an argument for either. So it's a 50-50 for me, honestly. I think they both present a fair bit of upside, but also a little bit of risk for both. Durham, obviously, with the returning midfielders. But in Banks's, I guess, position, if he gets shifted into a different role, maybe. Matty, no, lol, a full horse is approx 7K a month. Oh, okay, gotcha. When in full work with good trainers. So it's $700 for 10%. Gotcha. I was going to say, gee, with 7K for a month, you're going to be out of pocket for, what would that be? 7K, 84K or something for the entirety of the year. Where are we? Why a lot peeps get syndicates together? Okay for fun. Yes, equations these days is not good. Tough gig. Yeah, I imagine longer term, you would find it hard to make a profit out of it. If it was profitable, everyone would be doing it, wouldn't it? So that's the risk. But how did you go about buying into this horse as well? Like, did it have a good pedigree? Was it being, was it born to like a, whether it be the, what do they call it? Not the foal's the baby, but the stud and the male and the female horses virtually, did they have a successful pedigree at horse racing? And that's why, like, you're like, okay, well, genetics and everything else, like, is that kind of how you bought into this horse, or was it a tip or something else? Yeah, I'm keen to hear. It might be boring to everyone else, but I'm just keen. Jonas, what is everyone's team value? I've been stuck between 13.05 million and 13.17 million since round 8. I am currently, let's have a squeeze. Where are we? Just get it up on screen. 13.087 I am at the moment, Jonas. So I think I've dropped down in recent weeks. I was rated pretty well. So my highest was 12.854 million. And it's dropped all... Actually, no, sorry. No, sorry, incorrect. Idiot. Round 14, $13.27 million was the highest. So there you go. Interesting. 12.5 million, says Freaky. My uncle, he does dog racing as a trainer. He does win a lot of money through it. So I know the ins and outs on how he will go, etc. I love watching his races. I will say the one thing with greyhound racing is you see so many greyhounds that don't get passed as fit or successful to make that step up to greyhound racing. And a lot of them get put back into the system, and some get lost, some get euthanized, and it's pretty shit. But they do have the greyhound, I forget what it's called. It's like a foundation where they actually take the greyhounds and adopt them out to families, which my wife's friend got their greyhound through that, which is pretty cool. So good to see. Has so many dogs race. Very nice. Maddie, I'm 56 and talking. It's taken me 38 years to get a winner at Flemington. Well, that's my age. It's taken 38 years to get a winner at Flemington. Fair few wins at Sandown and Caulfield and interstate, but Flemington very, very tough. I imagine the quality of horses that you're up against to try and find a spot in a race would be very, very hard. So at least it sounds as if your horse is on the right track, mate. Punter, more money to be made in horse stud. An elite stallion can fetch, this is it, 100K upwards per service. A service meaning, of course, to fucking mare. No guarantees that the foal will be a winner. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you virtually go through genetics. It's like in footy, like the Dacoses, of course, with Peter being an absolute champion for Collingwood. So the father-son side of things, and it obviously works to some extent in horse racing as well, obviously, with the genetics, but it's not always the case. Like, as Winx actually had, I think Winx has got a, I don't know what they call it, the foul, the fall. How do you pronounce it? Foul? The foul. I don't think it's been as successful as, or am I thinking of Black Caviar? One of the two anyway, but it's not always the case. But fetch a fair chunk of coin, of course, off the back of that. So when they retire from racing, there's still money to be made. Yeah, as you said there, Punter. My dad was a horse trainer. There you go, mate. Very nice. Tiger Matty says 12.9 in terms of his team value. Freaky, I had 5% and 15% shares and 22 greyhounds and pups. Wow. Didn't see any return, but I did adopt one, and now I hate the sport. Dogs shouldn't be racing for money. I agree. That's what I was talking about before, Freaky. I think horses, they are built to run. I think that's as wild horses out in the field, that's their nature. Dogs aren't naturally made to run unless they're hunting. So I do see it as exploiting. Like, I don't want to be, a greenie or a lefty, if you want to call it that, but I do think with the dog side of things, I think it's pretty shit. Just hearing stories of how they're mistreated and everything else is one thing that I despise, because I love my animals. I love dogs and cats especially, having had a few across the journey of my life. But yeah, it's one of those things that it turns me off the dog side of things, and I don't take an interest. Whereas with horses, I'm a bit more privy to, but I can see why some people perhaps don't like it as well. Darren, who do you think gets the Blues and Bombers coaching jobs? I'm a Bomber and have Noble. Which way? I think you meant no idea which way they will go. And Walsh is one of my favorite players to watch. Oh, sorry, the full stop got me there. I do think that Carlton will stick with Josh Fraser. As the weeks go on, the way that he operates, and I don't know if you've tuned into my other channel, Blue Baggers Edge, mate, you might have in the past, but spoke about him even at length last night on our live stream, the wife and I, Mrs. Edge, as some call her, but her name's Ash. just with regards to the way that he carries himself, people laugh at the fact that he's in the coach's box wearing a hoodie. I love that. Like, he's comfortable. He doesn't give a shit the way that he looks. He's going there to, get wins and perform as a coach. And I like the fact that he's come out and said that at this stage, he's not overly keen on it, which I respect. But I do imagine with the passing weeks and the amount of wins that he's getting, that he's probably going to be warming to the idea. And I do think he will probably interview and go into the process to get the job as the senior coach. If he doesn't, I would be keen on James Kelly or Skipworth from Collingwood, or maybe a Jan Siracusa. There is someone else as well that his name's escaped me, but I do think the Bombers should be in the market for the same sort of coach. I do think, however, that the amount of support and, hoopla that's been drummed up by supporters and the media, especially with James Hird, I do think that James Hird probably will be the coach for the Dons. I don't know about you, Daz, as a Dons man, as to how you feel, but it's kind of split down the middle from what I've seen. Some people oppose James Hird because he's been out of the game for so long. It doesn't have the recent experience coaching. And other people are like, no, get him back in. Culturally, it'd be good, but in terms of strategically and as a coach that's been out of the game for so long, I just don't know. Corey, best pizza shop I like is Hollywood Pizza next to Richmond State. I have tried Hollywood Pizza. It's very nice. So I can attest to that, Corey. Punter, my godparents were very big in the horse industry back in the day as owners and ran a pre-training property out at Kilmore Way. Spent some weekends at the track selling newspapers. There you go. Very nice, mate. Love that. Love those little anecdotes that people have. So just send them in. Good little, because my grandfather, of course, had those back in the day. And he used to go up at Kilmore. It was actually a place where he used to, I think he actually had a farm up in Kilmore way, way back. And I'm talking in his early years, in like his late 20s, early 30s. Punter, soccer is great to watch, except when players carry on rolling around as if their leg was shot off. It's a chess game on turf. Yep, exactly. I respect it strategically. I respect it, but I totally agree with you there in terms of players that take the piss and try to draw free kicks, which is what we're seeing now happen in the AFL, where they just players flop. Levi Ashcroft is one player that I really dislike at the moment because he's getting in the face of players trying to draw a free kick. He did it against mobbing Carlton a couple of times, and I was like, just a little twerp, mate. Just concentrate on footy because you're an elite talent, a great player. Should have been number 1 draft pick. You don't need to be doing that sort of stuff. Reminds me of Harley Reid. He does that sort of shit as well. And it's just like, pull your head in, grow up, and let your footy do the talking because it can count for so much more. But yeah, with soccer, I actually sit in the number 2 of those options there. I'm 50-50. I'm not a rusted on fan, but I can sit down and watch a full game, but not be a rusted on, like have to watch it every single week. Socceroos I'll watch. I understand the game. I love playing FIFA as well. FIFA is one of my favorite games. That best mate and I, going back to high school, we used to always have a pizza, go back to my place, have a Slurpee and play FIFA. And we'd go through like the career mode where we would be playing as a certain team and, trying to upgrade the team, go through the ranks and everything else. Awesome stuff. But yeah, I do respect soccer. I don't think it's boring. Widescreen, would you go Worrell, Parker, or wait for Dale to hopefully drop a bit, trying to do it with 2 trades to get Pickett as well? I like Parker for his upside and his current value that he holds of those 3 players. I've got Worrell myself, but if I didn't have him, I would probably go for Parker. And yeah, if you can get Pickett down the line, grab him indeed. Punter has said 1 for soccer. He says not boring. I love it. Freaky says it is boring. Corey says 1 as well. He loves it. Alex loves it as well. Widescreen says boring. Disclaimer, Freaky says highly skillful game, but just does nothing for me. It's fair enough. Kate loves the soccer. You can see it in the Discord as well. She absolutely loves it. Copper. Soccer is beyond boring. Worst sport in the world. It's funny you've typed it as soccer as well as I noticed Jonas Goat in our Discord typed it the same way. Copper, are you actually a burner account of Jonas Goat? Mass debate her. this man right here. There's a bit of crossover here. Jonas, is that you again? just stirring you, Jonas. I know it's not you, mate. Or is it? Punter, a little birdie told me earlier in the Discord, you might have some interesting travel stories. Please share. I don't know what you're talking about, Punter. Where are we at in the comments? I'm 12 minutes behind, mate. So remind me at the back end and we might delve into it. We might round things out there because we've been going for 2 hours and my brain is slowing down and I need to get some sleep. Apologies, ladies and gents. Because I have to get up relatively early enough tomorrow because I'm heading to the game, which is an earlier game for Carlton, of course. Ellen, you've said one for not boring. I love it. Jonas, of course, says boring. Team is full primo, full fake primo. Still primo, technically. Well, it will be next week. Well done. Darren says boring. There it is again. See, soccer is boring because of the rules and defensive coaches. I used to play indoor soccer, which was pretty good. Indoor soccer is pretty good because it's like fast paced. It's more attacking. Obviously, smaller size. Punter horse racing is known as sport for kings. You need a bucket load of cash to make it big. Yeah. Jamie, mine's 12.8 right now, Jonas. We're doing what? Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well there, Jamie. Darren, what's your thoughts on Crowsberry in flex? He's probably a player that you could say fits that mold of a, a low floor, high ceiling type player from memory. Let's see what he's done. Because I think his big scores have been big, but he has had a few, low scores. So you can see here, he's had a few scores in the 80s, 70s, 171, 121, 132, 122. He's probably not the most attractive option at that price point. I reckon you could probably get better value elsewhere. But yeah, he's an option. Punter, my team value is shit, 12.6 on paper, though. Tells a different story. There you go. Copper, how much will Carlton beat West Coke by? I'm going to say 38 points. So nothing too overboard, but yeah, hopefully it's not the scare that we got against Essendon. Punter, the first foal from Australian champion Winks by Piero sold at the English Australian Easter yearling sale in Sydney for a staggering 10 million Aussie dollars. Yep. And it will never win a race. There you go. Foal, not foul. Yeah, that's right. Foal. I thought it was foal. Yeah, there you go. I was right there thinking about, obviously, the champion Winks. It's kind of like Nathan Ablett. Like, he was serviceable as a player, but he was nowhere near the same stratosphere as his brother, obviously, Gary Ablett Jr. But again, nowhere near what his dad achieved, Gary Ablett Sr. So the same thing applies in the human genome, we'll call it. Widescreen, think Fraser will be the next coach of Collingwood. Think McRae will bail on Collingwood. Seems similar to Hardwick with Richmond. Yeah, it sure seems that way because the way that he's topping up and he's trading in all these players. And I'm like, it's inevitable. You're literally going to get to a point where all your players, Pendlebury, Sidebottom, Howe, Membry, there's so many players they've got, even Darcy Moore as well. He's getting on and he's getting injured. They don't really have much quality in terms of the youngsters coming through. There's Oscar Steen. There's a couple of nice players there, but yeah, it seems to me the way that he's coaching at the moment, he's trying to go all in. It's going to get to a stage where it's going to be all out, I think, for McRae. So very good call there, Widescreen. Like that. Carlton need a Collingwood man to rack up the wins for him. Mate, didn't help with Malthouse, so it doesn't always apply, Copper. 13.1 million team value. You're doing very well there, Daz. Well done. Yeah, Mick Millhouse. Darren, I'd love Kelly or Enright to coach the Bombers. Yep, I think he's a great tactician and new age coach. Kate, my dad owned a pub with a TAB venue or TAB venue in a side room of the pub before the days of online betting. It was wild watching how many people would bet and their weird superstitions. Yeah, what are the superstitions? Anything you saw of note, like taking off one sock or something, or ringing a newspaper or something like that? I don't know. But yeah, my grandfather used to always go down to the local pub and have a punt on the tab on the machine, but he'd normally have it like at the teller. So they'd have someone there at the virtually at the bench. So he'd mark down like the races on the old slip, go up to the thing, and they'd normally take it and mark it down. But there's, as of a few years ago, obviously, you put it in the machine, takes it, stamps it, and then it reads it, and then it gets inputted so the person behind the counter doesn't have to actually do it manually. But yeah, it's crazy that you can still actually go into the TAB venues and use their machines. And it's by and large a way to get around actually being banned from the TAB. So if you are a successful punter through their online site, through tab.com.au, they'll actually limit you. So for example, now I'm an okay punter as an AFL punter. Wasn't successful tonight, must be said. But you've got to gamble within your means and don't go all in, obviously. You've got to have a certain pool of money, which I keep across the course of the season. Fluctuates, as it always does with punting. You have some great weeks, some down weeks, a few weeks in between. But I was successful on the year when Chris Judd won the Brownlow for Carlton, which was 2010. And I ended up winning $10,000, which back then, the bookies weren't across the AFL as a market as much. They weren't going through and watching game by game, which is what I was doing with a group of around about 10 to 15 people on a private Discord. And we'd input votes. We had like IT guys there constructing like a full-on spreadsheet that would automate. We'd put in our votes and it'd punch out an average. Then they'd have like simulations that they'd use to work out like the probability of a player getting maximum votes in a certain game and round by round. And it was pretty convoluted, pretty cool. But we actually, because the I guess the betting merchants, if you want to call them that, TAB, Sportsbet, Ladbrokes, all the big ones, because they weren't really paying too much attention to the results of the Brownlow, and they didn't know how to frame the market, as it were. You could make multis back then as like the top vote getters for each team. And I remember I'll have to go back through and find some slips, but I could do like 9 teams multied and ended up winning on some of these bets like over $500. And that was, using, for example, a Nick Dacos probably should get the most votes for Collingwood this season. He would be, like $1.10, $1.05 or something, like really short. Compare it to back then in 2010, they would have had him at like $2 odds. So they actually weren't as restrictive with the way that they were framing the markets. And I was able to capitalize along with others. It was after that season, I reckon they employed someone full-time to actually watch games, allocate votes, and then they started building software, algorithms, all that sort of stuff to sort of work out. And now they've framed the market so tight, it's very, very hard. You can still make a profit on the Brownlow, but it's very, very hard because you look at the way that they've framed their over-under markets on certain players, and it kind of aligns with, myself and all these others that are on the Discord. There's a number of people that have dropped off since 2010, of course. Quite a number of years have passed. But there are, it's much harder to make money. But anyway, that's my little tidbit there with my success through the TAB. And they actually have restricted me. So I can't place, not that I would anyway, but they restrict me in terms of bets on certain markets in the AFL. If I put like a $20 bet down on a specific player for most disposals or whatever, I've found actually, and especially at Brownlow time, they actually review manually every single bet that I put down. So there'll be a human on the other end. Once it goes through to ping them, then they would review to see if they have faith in me, if they want to take me on virtually in the Brownlow. So it's crazy. Every single bet goes through the Brownlow time where it actually has to review. Sometimes it takes up to a minute, 2 minutes. But sometimes I've had it where they've actually reviewed it and they've changed the price of the market off the back of me trying to bet on a certain, market. So it's pretty shit. Like they're very, very shady. Of course, it's the betting industry. And again, gamble responsibly if you are betting, of course. But yeah, crazy. Very, very crazy. Jonas, that illiterate Collingwood supporter, can't even spell. It's chowder. I mean, sulker, not soccer. I know it's not you, Jonas. I just love pulling your chain, mate. Corey, I still love the story Jonas told us at the footy last year that he did the coin toss for one of the finals in 2006. I can't remember. I think it was actually the grand final, was it not, Jonas? It was the St Kilda Collingwood grand final. Was that right? I may be wrong. Alan, g'day, Demo. I agree with Harley Reid. G'day, mate. Trying to be a tough guy. Sooner he pulls his head in, he'll win his first Brownlow. Yeah, and it's probably one thing that's holding him back is in the maturity. They say that males mature at a much slower rate compared to females, which I agree with. But he's going to hit a stage where, and probably Horn Francis, I think, is probably at that stage where he's matured because he started his career very similar to Harley Reid. but I think he's kind of got his head screwed on a bit more now and is, becoming a bit more of a better player. But yeah, very, very good point. Freaky, Sister Kate, have you seen the movie Let It Ride with Richard Dreyfuss? Great movie. You'll love it. Is that a soccer movie, Freaky? Danny Daly would be such a great option for either team. Yeah, he's been spoken about as well. I don't know too much about him, but I think he's been around the traps for a little while, hasn't he? Jade Rawlings has a crazy coaching resume now as well. Defensive coach at Freo, has won 2 or 3 flags of the waffle and Sandville in the last few years as well. I think he was the stand-in coach, interim coach for Melbourne at one stage, going back a few years. Might have been. It was Melbourne St Kilda elimination final. There you go. Was it 2006, Jonas, that year? I'll have to go back and watch it, mate, so we can see you. I won't dox you. I won't put you up on screen, but I think I've seen it already. I think it might have been 2006. So who was asking about the Kentucky story? So we might end things with this story. I can't find it. I'm trying to go back and find it. Who said about the Kentucky tour? Was it you, Freaky? Or did I imagine this? I don't know who asked it. But virtually what it is a story. It's talking about Amsterdam off the back of my story in last week's Friday knockoffs. I was talking about, they've got the coffee shops over there, they call them, of course, and it's legalized smoking of cannabis and everything else. I'm not a smoker. I've got asthma. I actually hate smoking, but tried the space cakes over there and very tasty. Chocolate brownies, virtually. I think it was you. I was you, Punter. Sorry, mate. So for those people who didn't know, I'll just give you a bit of a preamble here. So Kentucky tour, went to Amsterdam, had a space cake. Of course, if you ingest it via, of course, cannabis or whatever you call it, marijuana, through the space cake, it takes a long while for it to be digested into your system and into your bloodstream. Compared to if you're smoking, it virtually goes in your lungs, straight into your bloodstream. But being an idiot back then, being young, again, maturity, I was a dumbass. I had a full, I had a full space cake, and then I ended up having another half of one with another bloke in my Kentucky. The stupidest thing, because it meant that I had a 1.5 dosage of this, and it was the first time I'd ever had it before. Never smoked it, never had it, and I didn't know what it was supposed to feel like. And I remember we went from the coffee shop, and again, you're still smoking secondhand smoke as well, because it's just billowing in the air. It's that thick, because people are just smoking in this small coffee shop, which is virtually like a bit of a, what would you call it? It's kind of like a bar type thing, really. It's not like, they call it coffee shop. And I remember we went to this crepe place, and we were sitting at a table which was probably, 2 meters long, and I was at the head of the table. And the amount of time that had passed from when I'd had this space cake to then, it might have been about an hour. I was like, all right, like nothing's hit me yet, but it's fine. I'm sure I'll know when it hits me. So anyway, I was sitting at the head of the table, and when it hit me, I remember I was staring at it was a dimly lit place. It had candles on the table. We had probably around about, I reckon 10 of us in total on this long table. And I was looking at the candle, the flame on the candle, and it was like flickering, and then it slowed down. And I was like, that's interesting. And then I'd be staring at the candle, it'd start flickering, slow down. Then I looked up to the other end of the table. Literally, it's like in the movies where you see like the perspective, I forget the filming technique. I should know because I'm a videographer, but it's the technique in Jaws. You might see it's the famous shot where they have the main character, and what they do is they actually zoom in with the actual lens of the camera whilst moving the camera away. And what it does is it actually brings the camera close to the subject, but the background shifts away. That's what the perspective was for me when I looked up down the other end of the table. It felt like the table was shifting like 10 meters long. And I was like, oh shit, okay. So this is what it feels like. And that's when it first hit me. But as the night went on, my word, it got more and more impactful, and got to the stage where I remember I was freaking out in the back of the cab on the way back to a hotel. So I was on the Kentucky tour with a good friend of mine that I went to high school with, and she had it before. She was fine with it, and we were on the way back to the hotel, and I remember I actually thought I was going to forget how to breathe. So paranoia started to seep in. And again, don't do drugs, ladies and gents. Don't do this. I don't recommend it. But of course, being a rookie back then, never had it before, it hit me hard. And I was literally in the back of this cab going, and my friend is like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm going to forget how to breathe. If I do not continue my breaths, I am going to forget how to breathe and I will suffocate. And she was in fits of laughter. I remember her hysterically laughing. And I was like, do not laugh. This is serious. Got back to the hotel. I remember I was laying on my bed and looking up at the ceiling, seeing the smoke alarm with the flashing light. And I thought it was a camera looking down at me, just spying on me the entire night. And the next morning, got up. We had to go somewhere. Long story short, we were making breakfast, picked up my bowl, picked up the spoon, had to go over, make cornflakes, scooped up the cornflakes to go and put in my bowl, looked down, and I didn't have my bowl in my hand. Looked back over, and I'd never picked up the bowl, even though I thought I did. Went back over, picked up the spoon, picked up the bowl, went to go back there again, put the cornflakes in my bowl, went to go pick up my spoon. I've put my spoon down. Then I've gone back, done it again, sat down at the table, forgot to put the milk in the cornflakes. It was absolutely, and I think at that stage it kind of worn off. So because I had like 1.5 double the dosage that I probably shouldn't have had being a rookie, it cooked me. But the other story outside of that, ladies and gents, is which is what you're asking, Punter, and what I alluded to in our Discord, which again, just quickly, if you haven't joined our Discord, bit of a segue here, please do so. It's a great way to get involved in the community, chat about SuperCoach 24/7, and chat about anything. Really, of course, SuperCoach, but trades, captain options, injuries, tactics, rate my team, Q&As, all that sort of stuff. And there is a room which is dedicated to our segment that we run on our weekly SuperCoach Edge episode, which is, of course, the Q&A segment, where people go into this room, send in their Q&As, and as a reward for joining our community, we put it up in the Q&A segment each and every week. So this is the link. I'll pop in the chat. If you haven't joined already, please do so. But it is something I've flagged. And again, in Amsterdam, incredible place, very, very beautiful. But our Kentucky tour took us to, believe it or not, a live sex show. And I must admit, it was the most weirdest thing I have ever seen in my life. Now, I imagine at some stage or another, you may or may not have watched porn at some stage. Seeing this acting out in front of you on stage is the weirdest experience, because I felt really awkward. I must admit, like when you're watching people do that in a crowd, and it was strange as well because we had like Russian guys. I think they looked Russian, seated in the front row in suits, smoking cigars, like sitting back just watching. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? It is the craziest thing I've ever experienced again. And I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't do it again. I know, again, you may or may not have watched porn in the day. And that's fine. Everyone does it. It's natural. But seeing this live, and I remember the guy, and it was virtually on a rotating bed. It was like, I don't know if you've seen Austin Powers, where it's that scene where he's on the plane and he's on the bed and he's trying to seduce Liz Hurley's character. And he's like, do I make you Randy Horn? And he's like on the bed and it's spinning around. Virtually that on stage. And I remember the guy that came out and was performing, and he was wearing like a fishnet vest type thing. And the poor bloke did not look interested. Like it looked like he'd been a performer, had been doing it like for decades, and he was not keen. He was not keen. But I remember the other part of that, which was freaky, was they had like it in between performances, they had a few women and someone dressed up in a gorilla suit with a banana, so a banana penis virtually, that they'd be using to spray people in the crowd. And it was really, really weird. Anyway, one of the guys in our Kentucky group got pulled up on stage, and this is one of the things that I remember. Crazy thing from Amsterdam, apart from obviously the live sex, which is just weird. This guy got pulled up on stage, and there was, without going into grotesque details, there was a lady, we'll call her that. It doesn't matter about attractiveness, but it probably added to the story. In fact, that she wasn't the most, didn't have the most natural beauty, we'll call her that. But she had a banana that she peeled. And you could probably guess as to where that banana was placed. And virtually no hands. So she was laying down, and the guy that got called up on stage from our tour, we could not believe he had to eat the banana with his hands behind his back. And this lady bucked her hips. And so he got a face full of banana, let's just say that. And we in our Kentucky group got absolutely, we were floored. We were in hysterics. The poor bloke, and this is a guy, mind you, who he was quite vocal. He was out there. Everyone in the group, they had a very, very placid personality, or a personality that was like very out there. He was that sort of guy. After this, he was dead silent. He was like, he couldn't believe it. He was like embarrassed, and I actually felt embarrassed for him. And I thank God I wasn't called up on stage, because there's no way I would have done it. There is no way. Mind you, this is many years before my wife and I met, so I was single at that stage. But even then, to do that at a crowd full of people probably helps that you're in a different country and you won't see anyone again. But of those people in the Kentucky group, I don't keep in contact with anyone actually since then, because when I went on it would have been 2 years out of high school maybe. So it would have been around about 2007. So, almost 20 years ago. A lot of time's passed. Shit, I feel old now. But that was one of the moments that I remember vividly from Kentucky. And I wish I could do a Kentucky now, if I had my time again with the wife, but you can't obviously now with a little man, because it's great fun. It is great fun. You get to meet some great people. And it was at a time in my life where I was kind of like, I was coming out of my shell. And it was after that I ended up going to, I think I've told in the past, I went to Thailand with a group of close mates, boys trip. And then it was after that, I actually was like, you know what? I want to grow and mature myself, throw myself into the deep end. Actually ended up backpacking solo around Thailand, back to some of the places that we'd been to, but other places as well. And was great fun, absolutely great fun. Put myself out there, met other Aussies as well, obviously. So if you get the chance, if you are tuning in and you are young, I do encourage, do some solo backpacking. It is one of the things that I really am happy I did over the course of my life, and really did, I think, help me come out of my shell and mature me as a person. And yeah, as a string to your bow as a individual, really. So that was awesome. But just on Amsterdam as well, I will mention, which is, I don't know if I mentioned it in the Discord, but so their sex industry, they're very open, which I respect. It's something that I think in Western culture anyway, like in the US and Australia, of course, the sexual side of things is kind of like, we don't want to talk about it, but I think there probably should be more spoken about it. It's a natural part of life. They've got like a sex museum, but they've also got, there are places they call the red light district, which is the underground sex industry. Over in Amsterdam, they have what they call a blue light district. So it's like a regulated, like professional industry. You walk down this street and it is lined with virtually windows on either side. And there's ladies that it is their professional industry. They get paid good money. And I could not believe the beauty of some of these women. I'm talking like catwalk model ladies. And I'm like, this is crazy, but it does make sense because they kind of, that's their job and they get paid well. And they're the best at it and the best looking and everything else. And I'm sure they say they're the best at their job as well. But I was blown away. I was like, it's really out there. Like ladies standing in the window, like trying to, say to people, like, you want to come in, you'll come on in, and all those services, which I don't know how much they would have charged, but as I said, just incredible beauty. Some of the ladies there at Amsterdam, but it was, if you do have a chance to go to Amsterdam, I do encourage it, because outside of all that, it is a beautiful city. The architecture it's kind of a cross between like an old school town, but an upmarket city, like melded together. Really great culture, and Anne Frank Museum and stuff they've got there as well. So historically, some great things to check out. But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. One of the highlights of the Kentucky tour, that's for sure. So we do have some other stories down the line we might chat at some stage, but that'll be it. Let's just quickly go through. Oh, first and foremost, Freaky, mate, thank you so much, mate. $14.99 super chat, first for the night, and a big one at that. So Freaky, thank you so much, mate. I do appreciate your love, support, ongoing as always. And yeah, wouldn't be doing it and having as much fun as I do without the support of legends like yourself. So thank you so much, mate. And you said I'm going to sleep well after the last thing at your story. Oh, sorry, laughing at your story. Too funny. Thank you, mate. Hopefully it puts a smile on your face, and you have some nice dreams off the back of that. Hopefully not the dreams of someone dressed in a gorilla suit and a lady making you eat the banana out of. Speaks for itself. This is such a great story. No worries, Kate. Hopefully it puts a smile on your face, bit of a laugh. It was very funny indeed, very funny. They would have charged you double if you were on space. Well, they probably would have. I reckon if they have any international tourists and stuff, they probably would. I was there for the site. At that stage, so 2000 and shit, how old was I? So I finished high school, mind you, when I was 17. So I graduated at 17. I was one of maybe 2 or 3 people in my year level that was 17. So you could probably call me like a Jagger Smith. Like Jagger graduated a year earlier than most of his peers. So I was similar sort of boat where I was 17. I was 18 in my first year of uni. And it was after that. So 19, I would have been going into the Kentucky tour. So still quite young, maturity-wise, everything else. And probably not as outspoken as what I am now, I think. So yeah, it was a great trip, great people, and a lot of us now have moved on and had wives, children, all that sort of stuff. So it'd be good to catch up with them at some point. But yeah, the tour, and the guy who was running our tour, his nickname was Nemo because he looked like literally Nemo the fish, the Pixar movie. And great bloke. He actually reminded me so much of Grant Denyer. Short stature as well. Very knowledgeable, but a very, very fun dude as well. So if you have a tour guide that is super fun, it elevates the Kentucky tour even more. So we ended up, he took us down to these, that was his idea virtually. And it was like gauging people. Do you want to go to this? Not everyone went to the sex show, mind you. So you had an option. It wasn't forced. But it was part of the history of Amsterdam. It's a professional part of their industry and their culture virtually. So to see it, it was like, shit, okay, respect it. But there would be people using the services, that's for sure. These days, I would rather bring out the Carlton mascot suit, which we did. Jonas, were you part of our live stream last night? I think you were, which you might see in the cupboard behind me. I don't know if it was you that was asking it, but about merchandise. I've got some old school merch in the cupboard there from the many years of being a Carlton supporter. But no, the mascot suit is the freakiest thing ever. So I don't even think Mrs. Edge would be getting into that, Jonas, but nice of you to think so. So I've missed some comments here, but just an update on the soccer is boring or not. Majority of people say it is not boring. I love it. 56% to 44%. So there you go. We'll leave it going for a little bit, and we might wrap things up in around about 5 minutes or so, ladies and gents. Freaky horse racing / betting movie. The scene with Robbie Coltrane is so funny. I'll have to check it out. What was the name of it again? I'm trying to go back and find it. I've missed it. Where are we? Harley's better off out of West Coast. Needs a coach like a Hardwick, Kinsley, or Horse to pull his head in. Yep, good point. Darren, if my grandfather sent a dog pee on his tire, he would, depending which tire driver's side was, won. So race 1, horse 1 at Flemington. He won some good coin here. Really? So is that like a bit of a what would you call it? A superstition. So depending on whether it's the driver's side or what number of tire. Interesting. There you go. Maybe the universe is leading him in a good direction there, Daz. It's pretty cool. Jonas, I think Kate prefers movies like Bad Boy Bubby. I haven't seen that, mate, but I know it's pretty freaky. Maddie, answer your question. I used to fly around Australia to all horse yearling sales. Not so much these days. Have Dimmer and Kochi in horse. Our Tiger's son had Tom Stewart in one and a horse with Fev. There you go, mate. She's doing the rounds. Anyway, Night Demo and all the good people in the chat. Hope everyone gets a great score this week. Thank you, mate. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your love, support, as always, as a member, mate, and for joining in on the chat. Hope you're well and all the very best for your horse for its next race, mate. Keep winning that dough. Gamble responsibly as well, of course. Punter, my mate and I went to a festival in Germany. He took some acid, then woke up in the first aid tent, looked at me and said, "Am I in heaven?" No, I replied, "It was hallucinating women flying around him." My Lord. And don't take acid, please, if you're tuning in. Let It Ride. Okay, Let It Ride. Let me Google that. So I do love a bit of a nice punting film. Richard Dreyfuss. Okay. That surname Dreyfuss sounds familiar. Does he have kids? Emily, Ben, and Harry Dreyfuss. Yeah, sounds familiar. Anyway, Let It Ride. Check it out. Punter, we might end things after this, mate, because I've got to get to bed. Europe was amazing. Last went in 2013 just for a month. Grandma's 90th. Unfortunately, Paris back then started to fall. A lot of Armenian gangs. Yeah, I went to Paris as a part of my Kentucky tour, mate, and I must admit, I was fairly let down by Paris. It was very, very dirty. There was a heap of, I don't know if it's cleaned up since, but when I was there, it was putrid. It was not very nice. Apart from like the Eiffel Tower, obviously, I would not go back there again. And I remember our Kentucky tour guide saying, do not go out walking, even during the day, by yourself outside of a certain area that he actually said to us to stay within. And we didn't realize that it was myself, my friend, and a couple of others from the Kentucky group. We split off and we took like a back road. And he said to us afterwards, he's like, "You're an idiot because you can get robbed easily and assaulted," which we didn't realize. And apparently that's a big part of their crime issue over in Paris. They do have like fraudsters and everything else. Like they have people on the street doing card games, but they trick you and they trick you deliberately to make you lose your money. So don't be doing that if you're going over there for the first time. But yeah, pickpocketing, big over there. Yeah, it wasn't a very nice place for me. That didn't appeal to me anyway. I probably won't go back there again if I had the chance. But anyway, that was just me. But ladies and gents, that is it. I think we might end things there. Let's end this poll. And of course, we had five people saying soccer is not boring, 56% compared to boring, 4 votes for 44%. So there we go. That is the poll done and dusted. And that is us done and dusted, ladies and gents. That is us done for another live stream. Let's get up on stage again. There it is. Thank you all for tuning in, ladies and gents. Appreciate your love, support, everything else. Everyone, all the regulars for tuning in as well. You know who you are. Appreciate your love and support across the journey. Thank you. You're still here, Freaky. Still here. My story must have kept you awake. But sweet dreams, mate. Hopefully you have a nice dream off the back of that. But thank you, one and all, for tuning in. Freaky, Punter, of course, Jonas, Kate, just scrolling back through. So if I miss anyone, apologies. Maddie, Daz, Widescreen, Mr. Allen, Copperlocks. Who else is there? Jamie, I may be missing some. Jack Blucher. All those, you know who you are, who've tuned in at some point during this evening. It's been a mammoth stream. 2.5 hours again. I was actually thinking about wrapping up around about an hour ago. So you guys, testament to you and girls for keep me going. Hopefully it's been an entertaining stream as always, chatting the shit and speaking about SuperCoach. Have a great weekend, everyone. Go Blues indeed, Jonas. And hopefully we get the win against the Eagles and get the weekend even off to a better start outside of SuperCoach, of course, as well. But thank you as always for tuning in. Appreciate your company. All the very best for the remainder of the round. Don't forget on your way out to like the video, subscribe as well if you haven't subscribed already. And if you are watching this on replay and watching us on your mobile device, don't forget to hit the hype button beneath the video. In fact, once this video finishes, you can log back in, hit the hype button. If you can do that, it'd be absolutely fantastic. Catapults the video and the channel into the top 100 for the sports category here on YouTube. So again, like, subscribe, hype if you can. But outside of that, thank you one and all for tuning in. Appreciate your company. And until next time, all the very best for the weekend. And we will see you with our review for Damo's Team Talk coming out of round 16. All the very best for the last bye round. May it be a fruitful one. Until next time, we'll catch you then. Cheers.